Good morning, Xbox, and welcome to the podcast. Yes, I am your host, Mr. Boom Boom Kaboom. It's Newf and Nukem in the room. We are excited to be here. This is our first inaugural episode. Yes, we had an episode last week, but it was just more or less a simple introduction to the fantastic panel that we have assembled here. So I'm going to go around and introduce them to you once again in case you missed last week's show. Again, this is Good Morning Xbox. This is an all-ages show. Fit for everybody. So yes, every once in a while we might let something slip, but we'll try to keep everything clean and definitely green for everybody out there. So it's a fun Sunday morning. We got a fantastic chat going already, and we'll say hello to you guys in just a moment. But first, let's catch up with our amazing panel, who all pretty much have some of their segments on the show ready to do today. So we're going to have more of a formatted show. Hopefully it doesn't run too long. We keep everything very, very good and paced here this morning. So without any further ado, let's catch up with our amazing panel and then find out what they've been up to. So first of all, let's introduce her and have her say hello. We've got over to I guess on my screen, it's to my right, could be to your left, I guess, but Cool Kat Terri.
Hello, everybody. Hope you're all doing fantastic this morning.
And our next host is Mr. Scrub Nurse. Get muted. I can't hear you, Scrub. What happened to his audio?
He had audio a minute ago. Did he mute himself?
Yeah, I think he muted himself. Oh, no.
Okay, and there we go. Can you hear me now?
There we
go.
Hey, there you go.
A double mute gets me every time. Good morning, chat. Glad to be here today. See y'all on here explaining all the goodies that's coming to Xbox. Everybody get your coffee. Wake up.
There you go. Well, I was going to start a segment that's going to say, what are you going to do the hearing impaired in segment? I'm going to do the captions. All right. Axle 1324.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Xbox. Good morning, Xbox. And we're just excited to have our first episode today. Hope you enjoy it.
All right. We got Cerebral Paul.
Morning, everybody. Hope everybody's having a wonderful weekend this weekend. Let's get to some fun topics and information, and everybody just sit back, relax, grab a big cup of coffee, or in my case, some Dr. Pepper cream soda.
And last but not least, we have the eternal Shaddai.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to episode 1. Ready for those news?
Yes, indeed. And you'll have to bear with us, guys. Like I said, for a lot of us, this is pretty early. Trying to get up and go full bore into a podcast is not always easy. So bear with us. We might be a little bit janky, but we'll get this show going here. Let's give a big warm welcome to, obviously, the unsung MVPs that make each and every podcast work. Big shout out to Chase Jones, my good buddy, who is in the chat. What's going on, Chase? Hope the daddyhood is treating you well. We've got the one, the only Doggy Dog 420, who was one of our podcast winners last week. He won a free game of his choice, and he will redeem that at a further later date. We also have Marlesko is hanging out with us this morning. We've got Casket Repair is in the house. What's going on, brother Casket? And we got G-Bone 117. What's going on, G-Bone? And who else we got in the house already this morning? Joe Dunmore. Joe Dunmore is here. Doggy Dog need Mag to come in and introduce him, right? Doggy Dog 420, $1.99 super chat. He's dropping them hot already. Good morning, afternoon, panel, and chat. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. And who else we got going on here? Hey, Mr. Tushy's in the house. Great community game night last night with Mr. Tushy and friends. Halo was hot. Coming in hot there was a good time. Lots of laughs. Yes, baby. Yeah, there we go. And I think we just about caught up with everybody here. Hey, speaking of the Mag, look who it is. He's in the chat. Mag, what's going on, brother? How you doing? I hope you're enjoying Resident Evil 8. Melahuak. I hope I pronounced that right. Thank you so much. Greatly appreciate you being here. Anthony Chipmunk is in the house. Oh, Tushy's coming in with the 2 pound. Jesus, Paul's here again. Gee, damn it. Oh, wow, there we go. We go. That's how you get squaring in the show.
Yeah. If it keeps those super chats coming in, I'll show up every weekend. Yeah.
There you go. His sexy mug is bringing in the money. There you go. I'm going to have to give him a raise already. Jago Kuka's in the house. Jago was the other winner of that 1 month Game Pass. I don't think he could use it because he's had Game Pass before, so he'll share that out with somebody, I'm sure. Back from the dead's in the house. What's going on, brother? Glad you could be here. and I think we're pretty much caught up to everybody in the chat. All right, fantastic. So let's find out what everybody's been up to. We will start in the same order. Cool Kat Terri, what have you been doing since our last podcast, and what have you been up to? What have you been playing?
I've been doing pretty good. I've been working on my backlog, so I dug out Watchdog Legion, and I've been playing the online version of that lately. For the first time, I hadn't touched the online, so I've been messing with that, and it's not too bad. They did a pretty decent job with it.
Nice. Scrub Nurse, what have you been playing?
Of course, doing a little Call of Duty with my crew. Working on my stream problems, but I should have that up by next week. Also, been doing a little MLB The Show. For all you achievement hunters out there, it doesn't take much to play that game, and you're just racking up achievements. I think I played 6 hours the other day and got maybe about 150 gamer score just like that. So it's a great game. Glad to have a baseball game back on Xbox. So if you hadn't had a chance to check that out, please do. But yeah, that's pretty much all done this week.
Good. And Axel, what kind of games have you been playing?
So I've been playing a lot of Valheim. I've been going really hard on Valheim. It's my favorite survival game right now. Does anybody here know about Valheim? I know it's not on
Heard
Xbox.
of it.
Yeah.
Heard of it, yeah.
It's really addicting. The building mechanic and everything. Me and my crew, we broadcasted it on my Twitch on Saturday, and I found out an interesting fact. My best friend of 30 years is color deficient in the color brown. And I was like, wait a minute. How do you see me then? And it was a very interesting, 20-minute conversation about the color brown that we went over. And I'm like, I've been best friends with you for 30 years, and you've never once told me this. So, yeah, wow. It was fun. But other than that, I've been playing Yakuza Like a Dragon on my Xbox. And then because I'm just addicted to it. If you're not playing Yakuza, you're missing out. And then I'm also playing Banjo-Kazooie on xCloud, trying to see how it runs at different times of the day, different locations and whatnot. So that's what I've been playing.
All right, let's catch up with Cerebral Paul. Cerebral, what have you been? What's been keeping you busy?
A whole lot of MLB. And you know me, I play a bunch of different things. I couldn't list them all off. I'm the ADHD of game players. You know, it's like 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there. What's on the PC? What's on the Xbox? Seriously, I'm just one of those guys. So
all overboard.
Yep.
Nothing wrong with that, man.
More Alien Isolation. I'm still working my way through that. I started what's it called? Crusader Kings 3 last night. I started it on stream. I just thought it was a just like your usual, conquest game. And this thing is deep. So deep it's like, okay, spending whole 2 hours reading through the tutorial. Do here, do this, you gotta get married, you have to have an heir, because the way the game works is you start with your guy and he's gonna die and pass on his kingdom. I'm like, really? I didn't know this was real-time strategy. I mean, seriously, real-time.
Wow. Whew. That sounds interesting. Okay, let's go over to Turno Shaddai. What have you been playing?
Well, I have been playing Rocket League lately, but then I'll be playing Darksiders Genesis because I like the Darksiders, and I decided to do pretty much the whole series of Darksiders. There's only 2 that I'm missing, so I decided to start off with Darksiders before I jump into anything else. And let's see if I could get Resident Evil 8 soon. That's the only game that I'm missing. So
I want to get that real soon.
Well, hopefully you guys will score it. As for me, I've been playing a variety of things like Paul kind of mentioned. I'm kind of all over the board, but I did start Resident Evil 8. I'll give you my impressions on what I've played so far. That will be our first topic of the morning. 2 things just to get out of the way real quick. Behind me is not a pair of underwear, as Axel asked earlier. That is not underwear. I was just trying to reduce the glare, but it looks like I missed the light bulbs. And second of all, to address somebody who sent me a really interesting DM last week. Look, guys, I do have teeth, okay? All right. There you go. I have an upper row of teeth. Somebody asked me, do I have any teeth? Because of the way the camera looks, and well, I have a really odd mouth, you know what I mean? So anyway, we got a couple of super chats that came in. Let me see. Scroll past one.
Don't buy it. He just remembered to put them in this week. Okay.
That's right. False teeth. Tushy drops 2 pounds. I'm up for a raise. Gives the fire emojis. All right. And then Dirk Griggity's in the house, our brother from the We Bleed Green podcast. Good morning to the panel. Well, good morning to you, Mr. Griggity. And the one, the only from my other podcast, Gaming After Dark. It's the one, the only, the MAGG, the middle-aged game guy. He drops $5 Canadian. Good morning, everyone. Just came by to support the show. Have a great show, everyone. With MAGG, we appreciate you stopping by. And MAGG, if you stick around long enough, you are one of our features this morning. Yes, we'll get to that a little bit later on in this show. But all right, let's get right into the topics. Everybody, Sass and Lupa's in the house. What's going on, Sass and Lupa? You Draven Arrow, what's happening? Glad you guys could all be here. Yes, we got 28 and climbing. I know it's early, so we'll see more people here later. All right, so obviously it is Resident Evil 8. I get it. Not everybody loves Resident Evil. Not everybody plays the franchise. Not everybody likes the survival horror genre in particular. But regardless, Resident Evil is synonymous with gaming at this point. I mean, it's one of those well-known franchises that very few people on the planet know what Resident Evil is. At this point, you go way back to the 32-bit era where it was born, on the PlayStation, even on the Sega Saturn, the Dreamcast, and so on and so forth. We've all been subjected to Resident Evil games. Like I said, some people love them, some people don't. So Resident Evil 8 is out right now. It's scoring pretty well. It's definitely a solid game, and I don't think anybody expected anything less from Resident Evil. We kind of expect that pedigree now. The last game, number 7, came out, was one of the best games of that particular year. I think it was 2017. Got lots of acclaim, and of course it took some massive risks by going completely first person, which a lot of people love, some people hate, and some people still hate it to this day, which is part of that conversation as well. I want to talk to the panel as well about the risks that they took with going sort of a completely different route, and how we're seeing that with more and more games today. And I know you hear that conversation all the time, like maybe Gears should change, maybe Gears needs to change, maybe that's something that Gears has to consider down the road. Like, how do you reinvent a franchise but still keep your user base, that sort of thing. But just catching up with it, Resident Evil 8, I had a chance to dabble with it last night, probably just a little under 2 hours into the game. And people that say it's not necessarily scary, well, yeah, it didn't frighten the pants off me, but it definitely was intense. Especially like right from the get-go, you're in the forest and you're with a flashlight. It's very dark and you can hear lots of noises. And when you got a good headset and audio on, you kind of almost picture yourself in the same scenario. Like if that was real life and you were in a dark forest with a flashlight and there's all sorts of crazy noises around you, you'd be a little bit creeped out at least. So so far, so good. I'm enjoying it a lot. Obviously the controls seem to be pretty tight, but they're deliberate, so it's not, it still never handles like a traditional first person shooter. You don't go in and be like, hey, I'm going to Rambo this. It still has that kind of, you got to stop, you got to shoot. But it's not as janky as some of the old third-person stuff from back in the day. You guys know what I'm talking about here. So, like I said, I'm liking what I said. I can't kind of go and give you guys a number or review because I'd like to beat the game first. Like I said, I love the last one. This one is shaping up to be very well. It's quite interesting, like I said, because now you got lichens and different things. So it plays on the supernatural, so to speak, and a lot of the lore and stuff like that. But, it's the first thing you don't see is a mindless zombie going, that's not the first thing you see in this game anymore, which is kind of cool. But it still has these, incredible bosses and very intriguing characters. Everybody by now is probably familiar with Lady Dimitrescu. I think that's how you pronounce it, or I don't know. Who knows how to pronounce that properly?
Lady D.
Look at me.
This is called her Lady D. Yes, probably for giant double D's, but yeah. She a big lady, that one. Yes, she's like 9 feet tall. She got to cower under doors. I would hate to get her mad at you. Holy macro. So I'm gonna find out who else has played it on the panel. If you haven't and you don't have much to say about it, that's cool. But maybe you can at least weigh in on the risks that they took by going first person. Because I said they take a risk of losing a fan base that traditionally, loved the third person view. but they're gaining a lot as well, and they're certainly gaining by having a very high pedigree game. It's just kind of like too hard to ignore. But at the same time, you could almost take the Resident Evil name off this game, and then could you be like, if they took the Resident Evil game or name off, would it still be a good game? Would it still sell? Like that sort of thing? Because honestly, in all honesty, I think they could. They could just call this like Creeps in the Woods or something like that. I don't know. That sounds really bad. Hey, we got.
And this is why Newf isn't in gaming and naming. Okay.
No, I'm not in the naming department. Hey, True Racers in the house. What's going on, bro? How you doing? So yeah, let's find out, and again, we'll keep going in the order that we're here this morning. So, Cool Kat Terri, how about you? Your thoughts on Resident Evil 8, the big launch and everything?
Okay, well, I have not played 8, but I have played 7. So for the first person thing, it was very well received on 7. The fan base didn't seem to, I didn't really hear anything really negative about it. So it should, I feel like people probably aren't too mad about them still sticking to the first person for 8.
Nice, look at that. She's short and sweet.
Sorry, I haven't played 8, so I don't really have much I can say about it.
No, that's fine. That's fine. Psychonauts in the chat. Toolman's here. It's gonna yeah, so like with that, do you think though, Terry, that perhaps they will come back to a third person? Do you think that's kind of done for them now? Like, because in a sense it's almost a betrayal for like old school Resident Evil fans. Like that's what their bread and butter, the over the shoulder stop and pop mentality. So like, I mean, obviously if the games continue to sell, but do you think they might bring it back? Or do you think they might make it an alternative mode, or should they have made it an alternative mode?
I know I always hear one of my friends, a lot of you might know him here in the chat, Big Mike. He's a big fan of third person himself. He doesn't like first person, but he does it for certain games, and Resident Evil is one where he will, he doesn't have a problem with it. So I feel like a lot of people are going to be like that. They would like the option to choose, but in the end, if they decide to stick with the first person, I don't really see it as a negative. My understanding from a lot of like the hardcore fans that played like the originals, the biggest concern that they wanted to go back to that horror feel, whereas once you started with 4 and you started moving on, they kind of moved away from that horror and they went more into action. So now with 7 and now 8, they've moved back into doing that horror thing. So I think they're on the right track of keeping the fan base happy, I think.
Very good. Great answer. Scrub Nurse, how about you, man? You got any love for Resident Evil? What do you think about the new one so far? If you haven't played it, that's fine. But I guess maybe give your thoughts on, like I said, the risks that this franchise has certainly taken by straying away from the old formula.
Well, actually, I kind of like the new formula, going first person, and like Terry was saying, going back toward the horror genre. I remember back when the games first came out, and I hated the camera angle. I used to get turned around so bad, but maybe it's just me as a gamer. But not even having the really right over the shoulder, but almost like a top down view was just killing me. So I played a little of 7 with the friend, and I enjoyed that a whole lot better. Going back to the horror genre, I think was the thing to do. But I also think if you just change the name, keep the same company they bought it, that made it, and just gave it any name, like you said, weird creeper in the woods, whatever, the game would sell. I think it would still sell. It's a beautiful game. I watched some of the Let's Plays so far with Resident Evil 8. I haven't gotten it yet, and it looks great. It looks like it plays well, and I was thoroughly entertained on what I saw, especially with the little story. So once I get my hands on it, I think I'll be able to give a more thorough view of the gameplay and how it feels in my hand. But me coming from FPS all the time, I enjoy the first person. Like you said, it's a little more than just run around, and you're not going to play this game like Call of Duty or anything like that. But to me, I think it immerses you in the game a little bit more, and you feel the jumps and the scares, especially with 7 and I think this is the way to go. When you get a lot of gamers that have been playing, especially like some of us who 40 plus, um, we've seen how games have progressed from the beginning all the way up to here. So with the older guys and girls, sometimes it's I don't want to change. I'm used to it this way and this way. But we got to realize also too that eventually in 20 years from now, you're trying to bring up a generation that is eventually going to be our age.
Mm-hmm.
And these things might benefit them better. This might be something that works better to them. You know, they get their demographics and all that from their sales and stuff. And this might lead toward the younger generation saying this is how they want it. And you got to remember that these are corporations, so they are going to go where the money is. So if the sales data and everything shows that the first person is working, they will. I think maybe eventually over time, if you want to put more time in the game and say, hey, we want to put in a third person view where you can click a button, kind of like Halo the Master Chief Collection, how you can just click a button and you can go to the upgraded res versus the original. I think that'd be something that'd be worthwhile. But that's pretty much what I have on the game now. But it looks real good, and I think everybody, Metacritic and everything, which I really don't care for Metacritic, but reviews and everybody else have really been liking the game. So that's pretty much what I got on it.
I think if you really like the last one, you're going to love this one, to be quite honest with you. And people will often ask, well, do you need to play 7 to enjoy 8? Not necessarily, because right from the get-go, when you start up this game, they actually give you the chance to view, like, is this a recap of number 7? So they kind of familiarize you with the story, that sort of stuff. So that's why. But yeah, I definitely recommend if you don't have Resident Evil 8 yet and you're able to get number 7, for example, if you happen to own a PlayStation right now, and I don't know if Resident Evil 7, if it's free on Game Pass, but I can tell you that Resident Evil 7 is part of the PlayStation collection. So if you have a PS5, you can go back and play the old game absolutely free. There's a whole bunch of games there, so pretty cool on that. A couple really interesting parts of the chat before we continue on. Jago Kukin says, I'm an old school Resident Evil fan. I can honestly say I love the first person view. It feels way more immersive now, and I'm fine with the deviation from the old ways. And then Chase Jones says, to me, the third person gives you more of a view of the overall scene, and the first person should bring that scope in for better horror. I think that you can't always sort of look behind you. You don't have that sort of, and I definitely agree with them. I think the first person, if there's one thing that it definitely added more to the franchise, is it makes you feel immersed. It definitely starts to feel a little bit more real as a sense, because that first person really gives you that sense of surrounding more so than third persons where they just kind of feel like video games. And especially if you're playing in VR, oh my Lord, it takes on a whole new meaning to itself. So I'm not sure if you can play the new one in VR on PSVR or not. I don't think so, but I could be wrong on that. And Jago says yes, it is in Game Pass. So there you go, guys. If you're waiting for number 8 and you haven't played 7, you can go and catch up with it right now. That's awesome. Axel, how about yourself, man? What do you feel about Resident Evil 8? Have you played it yet at all? And give us your take on the direction of the franchise.
So I have not played 8, and I probably will not play 8. Resident Evil and horror games in general are just not my bag. It's just not a genre that interests me at all in any form of entertainment.
Okay.
Movies or otherwise. But I do have some interesting about the direction of it. So Resident Evil, it seems to go in trilogies. The first 3 were kind of that locked camera angle tank control-ish style. And then 4, 5, and 6 were more the third-person view, and they got more into action horror instead of, I don't know, jump scare horror that the first 3 were known for. And then, after that, 7 and now 8 have gone the first-person horror point of view thing, the immersive horror. So Resident Evil is a franchise that continues to evolve into what works, into what is the best for its series. And I think Capcom will continue to do that. Once first person is done, for Capcom, they'll move on to something else. Scrubners, you got lots of fans in here, my brother. But yeah,
Can
that's
we
all I
make
have to
Scrub
say.
Nurse the next Mr. Rogers?
Can you guys say Game Pass?
Game Pass.
Oh, that's awesome. Thanks,
Can
guys.
you say it in the smoothest way possible? It's like, good morning, neighbor. Welcome to our podcast.
Welcome to Good Morning Xbox.
There you go. You guys,
And
you have
now
to get
you're
him to do
sitting
some
like
voiceovers.
like you're an NPR. That
Oh, yeah.
NPR radio voice.
Definitely got to get that NPR radio voice. Talk nice and smooth and soft, and everybody thinks you're intellectual.
Scrub is gonna have to voice like a whole bunch of romantic segments, and then he should charge for them for people to send out to their loved ones around Valentine's Day.
Oh yeah, that'd be great.
Sorry, continue on, Axel.
No, that's all I had to say.
All right, brother.
That's all I had. I mean, it's just, I think Capcom will just keep evolving Resident Evil into what works. I think they're starting to step into VR. That might be the next place it goes for development, primarily as VR. But for right now, that first person is really working for them. And I think that Resident Evil will just continue to evolve into what works for the market, usually in trilogies.
Nice. How about you, Cerebral Paul? I think you mentioned earlier at the top of the show before we started that you're kind of into this franchise a bit.
Yep, I have played the demo for 8, and I haven't just had a chance to get my hands on it yet. I will say that from what I understand, and you might be able to speak to this, 7 was more jump scare, but it's also more action based, where you do a lot of running around. I mean, dodging the guy in the house, running around corners, just trying to stay alive. And this kind of pulled back from that. This is more the intense, that what I remember from Resident Evil, of just being on the edge of your seat the whole damn time, wondering what was coming next. Not so much boogity as much as okay, where are they? I can hear them. Holy crap,
That's awesome.
Somebody should make like a rated E for everyone type of version of Resident, like a mod or something, and then that's what they do is they come around the corner, and they're all weird or something like that. You know what I mean? They're like chasing you with Nerf guns or something. Oh, great.
So
go ahead.
Yeah. And as far for me, the first person is more submersive as far as it's you versus them, not you watching somebody else walk through the go through the adventure. And to the speak of it wouldn't be really. I mean, in a level it would be easy for them to add third person, but remember they have to program all those graphics, the models and stuff to do that.
Right.
So it's not just flipping a switch going, now you're outside your body. They've got to put all that in there. It's, so it would take them quite a bit to do that. That's something they have to think of when they're first building the game. So I don't know that they'll ever go back and do that at this point. Not that I think they should, because every game is what it is.
Yeah, I hear you. I was going to say I had a thought on this. I just want to say one other thing before we get Eternal Shaddai too. Like that RE engine is got to admit it's pretty impressive. Like I don't know the ins and outs of it like really technically, but I mean it looks amazing. Like we saw that in Resident Evil 7. This looks even better as we expected. The game definitely right from the get-go looks a lot cleaner. Like it I found if there was one thing about Resident Evil 7 at times it looked a little bit sort of blurry. But this one definitely looks a little bit cleaner, a little sharper. The rendering looks a little bit better overall. The character detail is a bit more is a bit more in depth. So like I love the engine. Capcom definitely's got a hit there with that, so that's pretty cool. But anyway, let's get Eternal Shaddai, his take on Resident Evil 8 and sort of the formula that's in play here.
Okay, Resident Evil 8, I don't have that game. My last one, never got the chance to beat it, will be Resident Evil 7. I could say I was only at the beginning. There's a lot of games during that time when Resident Evil 7 came out, but I gave it a try. And I have played the old ones in the past. My last one before Resident Evil 7 will be Resident Evil Revelations. That's where I kind of stopped before I played the rest of the one. It has evolved in so many ways from the past to now. It's very different, but as I expected, companies does take a lot of risk on making the game a little bit fresh, a little bit different. And we have seen it through this game, God of War, from over the shoulder to a little bit different now, instead of a third person or over the top, or the way they had it, a little bit fixed. And look how successful it became, God of War, and look at it now with Resident Evil, how successful that game becomes. So for me, that formula, if it's working, they're not gonna change it. The RE engine is very impressive. Let's see how it's gonna go if they're gonna make another Resident Evil 9 by any chance. But I have to get back to Resident Evil 7 to see how it goes, and I'm looking forward to it for the path for Resident Evil. But it has been a really good how can I say, really good change for Capcom, for the changes that they did for that franchise. Because at that time, for some reason, if I'm not mistaken, I think they're trying to redeem. This is just me. I think they're trying to redeem for what happened Resident Evil 3 when they made the remake after that flop. But Resident Evil Village is very different now, and it looked awesome. And I can't wait to play it. I really can't say enough about that Resident Evil. I'm ready to play it.
Well, it's definitely good, and hopefully by the time we're a few podcasts in, more of you will have a chance to play it. I mean, obviously it's brand new. You don't expect everyone to have it day one, and it is not a Game Pass game at day one. Heck, as a matter of fact, I know there's a big article going around, whether there's truth to it or not, that it might never come to Game Pass, or it certainly might never come to Game Pass for a long time. So that's why we're good. We're seeing lots of engagement numbers, lots of people actually going out and dropping the money on it. And personally, as someone who isn't in the Game Pass ecosystem, I do applaud people for that. Like I said, when it's a great game, you shouldn't always. If it's a great game that you want, I don't think you should always be like, I'm just gonna wait. Like, I don't know, like, play it, man. Get on it and support the devs right up front. Show them that you love what they're doing and that their hard work is worth every darn penny. This Resident Evil doesn't play on people like some other games where it's like 2 hours long and the rest is microtransactions and this, that, and something else. You don't really feel like you're being gypped with this one, which is unlike some of the other Capcom offerings like Street Fighter, for example. Street Fighter 5, exclusive to PlayStation, came out bare bones, started charging you for everything, nickel and diming you to death on that particular game. That was not the way to go about it. I think Capcom learned a lot with that, because as far as I can tell from the reports I read, that 5 was one of the worst selling Street Fighter games in their franchise history, and it was one of the better games, which is the crazy part. It was an amazing game. That's not the problem, but like I said, you come out early in a platform's life cycle, and then you kind of nickel and dime your fans. That's not a good way. Like, if you're going to do that, then you do it the way Rare Software has done with Sea of Thieves, where you come out, you make some promises, and you try to live up to those promises by adding content that people don't have to constantly pay for. That's how you do it properly. But I just want to end off and say one thing with this that really impressive as well, guys, is that I totally understand when a franchise comes out and it doesn't do so well, and they change the formula because obviously something didn't work for them. It's more impressive when you already have a successful formula, you already have a successful franchise, and then you make the big change. To me, that's a huge risk. Like, same thing with God of War. Like, Resident Evil, God of War are two of the biggest risks that I can think of in modern history, because they went with something that already worked. They went with a franchise that was already a multi-million-dollar seller, and then right out of the blue, you go, we're going to completely change this up. And it's kind of like I said, it's hit and miss, right? Because some fans are going to love it, and some fans are going to hate it. And I do hear that to this day with God of War. Some are like, I don't really like that new God of War. I like it when he jumpy and slashy, that sort of thing. But for everything that it took out, it did so many more things right. Like, it started to actually make you care about the characters. That's the deal. With Kratos, before, he was just like this big angry dude just going around like, I'm going to slay that Hades. I'm going to
Yeah.
I want to kick Zeus in the chin.
Yeah.
Right?
Kratos smash. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. Yeah.
It was just like a guy with some really bad PMS or something, and he's just going around.
Quick time square.
Raging.
Quick time circle.
Yeah, it was a fast action, and nothing wrong with the old games. Don't get me wrong, I love them,
Yeah.
but I like where they went with the new one. And like saying they Resident Evil, huge risk that's been paying off. So kudos to them. But it could have went the other way, and people could have like really dumped on this franchise, and then be like, and then where would you be, right? I would like to see it come back. Would any of you guys like to see like another Resident Evil set in the third person? I know they got the Revelation series. So is that how they're going to go now? They're going to kind of split it up. You think?
Well,
let me.
go ahead.
Oh,
Well, I think if you're going to keep it in the horror genre, I think it's best that you stick with the first person. Now, if you're going more to the action like it was before for a while, yeah, go back to the third person. But I think that first person immerses you, kind of like what happened with Cyberpunk, even though we all know it had problems. That first person, even though a lot of people wanted it like Witcher, I think it immersed you a little bit more into the game.
yeah.
All right.
And then for me, third person is a lot of the reason they did that back then was because they had to. When people say, "Oh, well, that's because that's what they grew up with or that's what they're used to," that doesn't necessarily mean it's better or worse. It just means. Now, I do think it'd be cool that maybe if they did like a dream sequence or if they ever do like a throwback sequence to an older part of the story, switch it to third person. Take the whole thing back to the old retro way of doing things. And it's funny for me because a lot of, including myself with the other company, we say, well, all they tend to do is they use the same basic over the shoulder third person and they just rubber stamp a game. And to a point they do. And it's kind of funny to me that that's what people want to see. It's like you said, and I've said, the first person is much more immersive, much more, okay, this is affecting me. I can only see what I can see. I can't see a little bit over my left shoulder or whatever. So
I totally agree, and I think the majority of us would agree that first person, man, it really brings you in. And like I said, if you got a great audio headset, that's half the equation. It's not just what you see on the screen; it's the things you don't see on the screen, the things that you hear lurking in the dark, the creaky board, the creaks in the boards. I think it was who was it, Shaddai, or I think it might have brought up, how like Resident Evil 7, you're in that house and it's so claustrophobic in there, tight quarters, not a lot of room to move. You don't really know where there's a dead end. You don't know if you're going to get stuck. I found that out last night, not to say too much, but early in the game, I was faced with Resident Evil. I get into this village and it sort of opens out a little bit and I can see all of these lichens. And I'm just like, what do I do here? Like, do I go balls in kind of thing? And sorry, there's that gaming after dark language. Pardon me. But, do I go rushing in and perhaps get annihilated? Do I kind of sneak around? Do I use a back street? Because we're with Resident Evil, that's the notorious thing that they do is they give you so much and then they lock you out. And then you go, oh, well, now I need a bolt cutter to get this. And then I'm going to need a key to get that. And then that's going to open up something else. And it's a constant progression of collecting things until you get to a save point and moving on. And I think they do that largely on purpose because that way they force you into these areas. So you're in the thick of the hunt. So it's pretty crazy, man. I would like to see a third person. I don't know if they can do it. I don't know if the engine lends itself well to changing, because I think it would have been cool if you had, like, say, an option on your controller, you press a button and then you could switch between the views if you wanted. But I don't know.
I think that takes away from the suspense a little bit, though. Because
you're probably right.
Plus, it puts a lot of stress on the engine. The PUBG engine, Unreal 4.
Yeah.
They program both third person and first person into it, and PUBG took a long time to optimize with that kind of engine changing, camera changing. And me personally, I play it all first person. And if it was me with those lichens, I'd go full Van Helsing on them, I'm just going in.
Well,
Now, also, let me just real quick. I want to speak to a point you just said. If I can remember what it was now, I may have just lost it. Crap. Come back to me in a minute. I got to remember what it was.
Well, let's just say that was the first. Well, there was lots of intense moments leading up to that, but that was the first where I was like running for my life. Like these things were coming at me, and I'm like, I want to conserve some bullets here, that sort of thing. And I was just kind of running, and yeah, let me tell you.
I know what it was. I know what it was.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just from the demo I played, and I played quite a bit of RE7. RE7 felt very claustrophobic because you were in the house, you were very closed in. This just kind of opened that up. It's still suspenseful, but you don't feel quite as closed in.
Yeah. Well, the house, the mansion itself, if you played the demo, is definitely a little bit larger, more scale, I suppose you can say. But yeah, very interesting. Anyway, let's we're almost through an hour of the show and still on the first topic. So let's move along from Resident Evil. I think we've all said our part. I hope everybody gets to play it and gives us your take. And like I said, when we come back next week or whatever, if you've had a chance to play it, you can certainly chime in with just more impressions. But anyway, guys, happy Resident Evil week. Hope everybody has some fun with that game. Let's move on to the next segment. And this one, Terry's going to talk on obviously first because she, like I said, Terry is certainly one of the, I guess, more renowned streamers on the panel here with Twitch. I just dabbled with Twitch for last night, for example. And like I said, I've got a long way to go on that particular platform. Sucks that Mixer was knocked out because I was actually doing well over there. And now I'm starting from scratch. But anyway, it's basically, if you're not aware, and I just came across this a couple days ago, and I didn't even know this was a thing, but apparently there have been some streamers who are making a big deal of getting in hot tubs with bikinis on, and this is taken off. It was getting like lots of views and stuff. And Terry seems like a pretty legit, level-headed streamer. She's there to game, right? And you come out to watch her for her personality or her content, not for the kind of clothes she wears or what have you. So Terry, how do you feel about this? Like, I mean, are they making a mockery of this kind of thing? Is this something that Twitch needs to kind of nip in the bud? I mean, everybody's got their consensus of what Twitch should or shouldn't be, and no one has the right really to tell a streamer, how they do their content or what it is. I mean, if it sells, it sells, I suppose. But at the same time, it kind of, it starts to be like a big joke. And then again, I guess I always say the legitimate streamers, the people that actually know video games, the people that actually love and play them, don't get recognized for the lack of a better word, the bimbos, right? That come out. So how do you feel on the whole thing? Is it being blown out of proportion, or maybe it's something they need to look into?
Well, for the hot tub streams, it's already starting to wane down because people, when the first woman did it, she was able to get, I think she was bragging that she got over 16,000 viewers or whatever. So then everybody else just started doing it. And then there were people that were just putting hot tub stream in their title that weren't even doing hot tub streams just to try to bring people over. So because the people are doing that, now people are starting to wane off because people are like, is it real or is it fake?
Mm-hmm.
And they don't want, so, but for me, I mean, I'm not a fan of that kind of stuff. For me, I don't believe that stuff belongs on Twitch as a platform. There's plenty of other platforms that are made for that kind of content and audiences that they could go to. So I feel like they should go there. They'd probably be more successful there too, because that's the audience that they're trying to get on Twitch that's already there. So it just makes sense to just go where your audience is, if you're trying to make money off of it, you know what I mean? But yeah, no, I don't, it's, they always try to, push the boundaries, work within the loopholes of the TOS that Twitch has.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what they're doing, because Twitch cracked down last year on what you can and can't wear on stream, because there was a lot of female streamers with very low cut tank tops, really promoting the cleavage and things like that, and it was going too far. So then they started to crack down on it. So then we had the streamers that would take advantage of the loophole of cosplay, to where as long as I'm cosplaying a character, I can be more lewd. So they had that loophole, and then they changed the rules some more. to where you can only be in certain outfits if you're within the same environment. So let's say if someone wanted to stream at the they're on the beach and they want to do a stream at the beach, it makes sense that they would have swimwear on, so that would be okay. So now they're like, oh, so if I'm in the right environment, I can have swimwear. Bring in the hot tub. All right. So they're always trying to push the boundaries. And like I said, find the loopholes to where they're not breaking TOS. And then Twitch has to keep trying to adjust it. And then it's always a debate. A lot of those creators will always come at you. All now you're what do they always say? They always use the same rhetoric every time you try to come after them for that stuff.
Right.
They'll be like, oh, you're body shaming me. Like, no, we're not body shaming you. There's literally 13-year-olds that are on Twitch. Go to the platform where there's better parental control and security to keep minors away from that content.
Yeah.
Or they'll be like, you're being biased and you're not treating sex workers fairly, and this and that. Is the way I see it is, if you are intentionally using your body to make money, you're a sex worker. And if you're a sex worker, go on the other platforms.
Yeah, it's called OnlyFans, right?
Yeah, so just go to the other platforms. That's all I'm saying, because that is a huge problem with Twitch. Is even if you do mark your streams as for mature audiences, there isn't really anything keeping a 13-year-old from watching that content. They just gotta click the button. This is for a mature audience. Oh, well, I'm mature today, and then they click it. And that's pretty much it. So there's nothing keeping the minors from watching that stuff. So that's either Twitch needs to step up their game with the security to protect the minors that are on the platform, or those people need to just get off and move to a different platform. I'm not going to judge them. They can make that content if they want to. I don't have a problem with them making the content. Work your hustle, however you got to do. You got to make a living. Just put it in the right places. That's all I'm after. Just go to OnlyFans, go to Patreon, go to whatever other site has it.
Yes.
Do your hustle there. Your audience is already there for you, and I'm fine with that.
And this, my friends, is why I felt it was very important to have a knowledgeable female on our panel, because if you're just getting the guy's point of view, it could be entirely skewed. So, Terry, when you first see these on stream, do you kind of just get that cringe moment, like, oh my God, not another one?
Kind of. It's like
Now, I'm not going to lie. Like I said, I like visual eye candy. Don't get me wrong. I'm a little bit, like that, I suppose. But you're absolutely right. There is a time and a place for it. And I don't think Twitch was, for all intents and purposes, a platform for people to stream games and have gaming conversations. It's not supposed to feel like, the opening act at a strip club when you walk in there. I mean, maybe some guys obviously there is a market for it, because the amount that some of these streamers get hits. And I see them once in a while, you'll see them on camera, you pop in and you watch this video for like all of 2 or 3 minutes just to kind of see what's going on. And you go, yeah, I kind of get it, but you're like, yeah, you're in the wrong place. And I feel really bad personally for those streamers out there like yourself, Terry, who put a lot of work into things like the type of content, the editing, all of this stuff that goes behind the scenes. And they just come on and undermine everything that you kind of do by just getting out there and going, hey, look at me, look, I don't know anything about games. I know I play Zelda, but look at me. And then everybody's got a terrible image in their head, and they're like, oh God, yeah, Cerebral Paul, stop laughing, Paul. We saw your bathtub scene last week.
Hey, I am the reason the hot tub stream thing is dying. I did it one time.
When I get in, they call it a cold tub.
Well, my part was there were bubbles, and the hot tub wasn't on. So
but you know what? I'll take the hot tub stream with at least a sensible person than one of those streamers that goes, "You can't afford to give me $1, you scumbag. It's just $1. Like, you low life piece of scum, get out of my like." Come on, man. Like that's to me. Like, I'd rather watch the hot tub than listen to a whiny streamer going on about how their viewers aren't tossing them enough money for something essentially most of us do for fun anyway. But anyway, I took up enough of your time. Let's get to the rest of the panel. If you guys want to skip on the topic, that's cool, but anyone want to jump in here, we'll leave this on floor open. Who wants to jump in?
I was just going to say, it's been kind of brought up that it makes it harder for the legitimate girl streamers or female streamers to to not get hassled so much, because I've been a mod for a few female streamers, and man, they take a lot of crap that we as guys don't take, and not everybody realizes that. How many messages they get that are just basically, "Hey, show me your tits." It's like, come on,
Yeah.
We don't have to put up with that at all.
No.
I've never seen a guy streamer get messages like that.
That is very true. Great point, Paul. See,
and for them to sit there and I know some females have totally gone away from, I can't do it because I just want to stream, I want to have fun, I want to play games, I want to talk to my friends. But these idiots jump into my chat and all they do is, they talk about my body, or they want to this and they want to that, and so it drives them off. And I do think that the hot tub thing or the skimpy dress thing, it kind of pulls away from that. It makes it harder for the legit people. It really does.
Gotcha. Yo, let's give a shout out to the chat because we got Spider-Man 356, Philly Eagles hanging out with us as well. What's going on, everybody? Crispy Rambo's in the house. Chase Jones still hanging out with us here. Wow, we got a great crew this morning. Sass and Lupa, Shane Tomlin, what's happening, brother? Thanks for being here. We had a few people that had to take off, had to go back to work. True Racer hanging out with us. Kylo Milo's in the chat. What's going on, everybody? Glad you could be here. Yes, we're up to like 44 and climbing, guys. Appreciate it. It means a lot to us. You could be here early in the morning for Good Morning Xbox. What? Rich. Oh, Apex in the chat. I think you know who he's talking about. All right. Anybody else have any thoughts on this particular thing? Axel looks pretty excited about it. I think he's all for those hot tub ladies.
From a guy that spent a lot of his army earnings at the club, you know which one I'm talking about.
The Rotary Club. Yeah.
The Rotary Club.
The country club. I think the biggest mistake Twitch ever did was try to get non-gaming content with the IRL stuff in real life, just chatting things, right? Mm-hmm. And the original intention was for other creators that weren't gaming creators to come in, like painters or carpenters. There's a guy that does carpentry that I love watching. He does tutorials on it. And that's not gaming content. That's creative content, though. And so I decided to check out the hot tub meta when it was actually meta, before it was dying down, and you could search hot tub and you got nothing but results. And Twitch has cracked down on it. Now you search for the term hot tub, nothing comes up. Literally nothing, right? But I looked into, I watched about an hour's worth of about 3 hot tub streamers, and I've never been more bored in my life. The topics they were talking about were the most boring topics I've ever heard in my life. I couldn't even repeat them to you. They were that boring. I didn't pay attention. And their screen presence outside of their bikinis was basically nothing. They had no reactions, they were not animated in their presentation or anything. Like I said, it was some of the most boring streams I've ever seen, but they had 20,000 viewers. And so yeah, I think Twitch is going to crack down on the hot tub meta, the bikini meta, if you will. There is other platforms for that. But what I hate the most is when a creator has arguments about their body, right? Mm-hmm. And you try to tell them, oh, it's not right, the right platform for you to do this, and you get 20,000 views while I'm grinding and I get 10 views. And they say, oh, I'm sorry that my body is more entertaining than your entire stream or something like that. And it's like, for you to say that, you obviously don't know the way men work, right? Like, if my wife walked in right now, topless, every train of thought I have in my head would disappear, and I would just be staring. Like, that's all it comes down to. That's just the way men are wired. It has nothing to do with entertainment, right? It's just the way we are. So yeah, it's I hope they do crack down on it, because I don't feel that it's not even entertaining. Like, I was watching, like, I just went into the just chatting, and the first 2 streamers, one of them has 16,000 views in the hot tub meta, and the other one has 3,000 views in the hot tub meta. Another one has almost 1,000 views in the hot tub meta, but she has a fish head on. to cover herself up, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just I don't know. I feel the same way Terry feels.
You know, and Nate in the chat, like he says, he's been on Twitch when it was just basically like the TV kind of it, and like he says, as long as it kind of makes them money, they're going to tiptoe around a lot. And I think he's on to a point, because at the end of the day, Twitch is about viewership, right? That's where they get advertisers, and they don't want to cut that out completely because they could potentially lose, you know, hundreds of thousands of subscribers, really, at the end of the day. So I think he's on to something. I think, yeah, they want to do as much as they can, but they really don't want to get rid of it either. I think that's the other side, because they know it doesn't matter what kind of views they get as long as the numbers are there, and the numbers across the entire platform, not just on one particular streamer. You know, you start losing, you know, it's all about, you know, the ninjas and those people these days. But you got to think about, you know, if you got 30,000 channels where they're doing hot tub things, and on average they're getting, you know, 100 viewers per show, like still turns out to be an awful lot of viewers and a lot of advertising missed opportunities if they cut them out. So I think he's definitely onto a point.
Aside from the hot tub thing, they have like the live music thing where you see some guy standing behind his turntables playing like he's in a club and he's really in his basement. And those things get hundreds of thousands of views. And I'm like, why are you watching this guy spin music? But I mean, you know,
they like to because people just like to listen to the music while they're at work or doing like stuff around the house. So they just throw it on.
Yeah, but to me, it's like I have zero, but apparently there's hundreds of thousands of people that will sit there and watch that for hours on end. Yeah. I'm like, okay, sure, whatever, you know.
The other thing though with Twitch is they are very biased. They're very, very biased, and they get called out on it all the time. When it comes to their TOS, they're going to crack down on this stuff, but they're going to choose who they're going to crack down on.
Right.
Usually, like the smaller streamers, like myself, if we do these things, we're the first ones to, you know, get banned. If you're a very popular partnered streamer that can make a lot of revenue for Twitch, you know, you'll get that little. We're going to suspend you for 3 days, you know, to make it, you know, so people think that we are actually serious when we're not serious. Keep making us money kind of thing. You know, they just give them a little slap on the wrist and just keep bringing that money in. And so it's a big problem with Twitch. It really is. They need to, you know, if they're going to set rules, they should apply to everybody equally. But
I think one thing they've done too is they stopped letting it go to when you go to the Twitch front page, they stopped making a big headline of some of these, you know, these streamers that they really don't want to be headlining, you know.
They changed
they don't get as much attention as they did.
They changed the algorithm because before the front page would only show partnered streamers. Right. They changed the algorithm about a year or two ago where it will just pick random people and put on there.
Yep.
Yeah.
To try to give smaller streamers a chance.
Yeah. By the way, guys, I've decided to start my own endeavor pretty soon. It's going to be Nukem bath. It's going to be Nukem toilet water. I'm going to be selling that real soon. How about
that? If you wanted to do well, though, you got to sound French. Le toilet water.
Yeah, le toilet. My slogan on the bottom is "You're in trouble." Urine. All right. Any further thoughts from the panel on this kind of stuff? Scrubs, should I?
Yes, I actually do. I'm with Terry because Twitch used to be all about gaming. All of a sudden, you have females, you know, showing their bodies, and like you said, Newf, it's all about viewership. But at the same time, you have to understand. Like I know Terry said it, that you have kids there. And every single time when they see that, you know, the first thing that they're going to see is a female at the hot tub. And that's not a good look for Twitch. But also, females like to go, on Twitch, they know the gray areas. You know what I mean? Because first, it was about the cleavage and all this, and you don't see that anymore. Now it's that hot tub. And now nobody mentioned this because I was thinking, I'm like, yeah, but you know what? Now there is another thing that's coming behind that hot tub. Is that, what is it called? The ASMR? The one that like, listen to me. You know, I call it the nurse voice, you know, that's soft. voice and start
somebody
licking
call
their
my name?
ear. They have this microphone that have ears. So like, yeah, this is so soothing. What's that? But they do have the provocative clothes while they doing that. So now they know the gray areas. They really do need to fix their policy for that because it's going through a whole different demographic Twitch. Instead of gaming creative, you're trying to show other people what they can do, more than gaming. And that's actually my take on that. It's just that they know where to find the gray areas. And Twitch, it could be coming to ruin their reputation on that. And I'm with Terry. There's another demographic. Go to another place for that. So other people could actually grow and see them how they evolve through their creative, ways of doing things.
Good stuff. Awesome. How about you, Scrubs? Any final thoughts on this?
No, just stop. Like,
calm us down. Calm us down. We're all pretty fired up right now. You need to meditation.
Imagine on a hot tub.
Yeah. Listen to the smooth sounds of me clicking open my can.
Talking about all the smooth nurse voices. All the nurses I ever had. Every time I've been in the hospital, it'd be more like Nurse Ratchet. Okay.
He needs
Just
to rename
close your
himself.
eyes. Just close your eyes and listen.
Exactly. Exactly.
We're gonna rename him the Smooth Nurse instead of Scrub.
Yeah.
Oh crap, what's going on, Doggy Dog? Good stuff, guys. Great comments in the chat. You guys are fantastic. Well, let's move along. I don't think there's much else really to say on this topic. I mean, it is what it is. We've got to hope that they do the right thing overall, but yeah, so let's move this right along. Calantis, what's going on? Thanks for being here. Kylo Milo. Mag had to leave. Mag, is too bad because you're going to be part of my featured community spotlight. I'm getting the first crack this week, and then each panel member is going to have a chance to pick their own community member each and every week. So we're not going to have everybody pick one. We're going to spread it out. So so the next week, so forth, like Terry will pick a community member she'd like the spotlight, and so on and so forth. So, but let's get in. Speaking of Terry, she is up next with her little indie spotlight. So Terry, take it away.
All right. Hey, everybody. Going forward, I'm only going to focus on one game each week, but since this is the first episode, I decided I'm going to feature two games, and the big reason why I'm doing that too is because these two games are also created by the same developer. So I figured instead of, might as well just put them together since it's the same team. So we're going to go ahead and show off two amazing games. I hope you guys are excited. Give me 1 second. I have to do like a screen share and all that's good fun stuff. I'm going to show you guys the trailer to the first game first. It's called Shadows Awakening. This game came back. This game released back in 2018 on the PC, Xbox One, and PS4. You can still play it through backwards compatibility on your series. If you have an S or an X, that's fine. I do not know if PS5 supports it. If anybody plays that, you'll have to, figure that on your own. I don't know how they are with older games, but otherwise it is on PS4. So yeah, and what was I going to say with this game? This one is published by Calypso Media, and Games Farm is the developer on this game, as well as the next one after this one. So let me go ahead and pull up the trailer real quick, and we'll go from there. Give me 1 second. You can go ahead and share that screen for me, please, Newf.
Hey, Terry, actually, I think you can share it on the
the bottom
there.
of
there it goes. Okay.
Is it there? Okay,
Yeah.
awesome. All right.
I am a selfish old man, and not too proud to admit it. And I am running out of places to hide. But alas, I must trust in my allies to learn what our enemies are scheming. Thou summons me. What is thy plan? Who knows? Perhaps I shall find a way to make myself sound heroic.
Let me switch that back over quick. All right, so that was Shadows Awakening's trailer that they first showed. Now, this game, it showed you a lot in it, and it's kind of hard to catch it right away. But there's certain parts that I kind of just want to pick out real quick, if I can find them. So yeah, right here, Unshackled a Powerful Demon. This part is important because this little part where he's like summoning the demon. The demon is actually the main character of the game, which is a new twist, because usually when you play any kind of game, you're always like some like hero kind of character. So this time you play as the demon. And for those of you saw that this is going to be your isometric action RPG hack and slash style game. For those that are really into that kind of thing, like I am. So you play as the demon, and the premise of the game is the demon needs to get some stuff done, but because he's a demon, he can't leave that like demonic realm. He's stuck there, so he needs somebody to go into the realm of the living to do things for him. So what he does is he creates puppets, and puppets are basically any character that has died. He kind of like strikes a deal with them. Hey, you do my bidding, I'll grant you one thing that you want most of out of anything. As long as you do what I tell you, and I'll put you back in. So he basically turns these people who die into puppets so that they can go into the world of the living. So as you're playing, they mentioned on the one thing with the cross realm thing, I don't remember where it was on the video, but they had mentioned like the cross realm thing, which is really cool. What they mean by that is you change back and forth between the living and the dead. So as you're playing through a level, you'll play as one of the living puppets. It'll be like your normal stuff that you would see in any kind of RPG. And then as you're playing, you can just flip it, instantly go to like the realm of the dead and play as the demon and have him then proceed through the same area you're in. So you're playing two games in one at the same time. It's really cool. You start out with 3 characters. You have you're a warrior, you're a ranger type, and you have like a fire witch. Each character has their own individual storyline, as well as the main story of the game. So it gives you a lot of replayability. And each puppet that you pick, those are going to be choices matter kind of situation. How you play through the game will determine which puppet you're going to get. You might help somebody here, which will help you get one puppet, but because you help this person, this other puppet that you might have wanted, you can no longer get. So you get locked out. So you have to play again and get all the different people. So it's a lot of fun. I highly recommend this game. This was actually my personal pick for Indie Game of the Year back in 2018. It's just phenomenal. Very, very fun gameplay. Lots of good puzzles. Depending on which of the main 3 characters you pick, they each have their own sections in the game that they can go to that the others can't. So, like I said, replayability to force you to be like, I couldn't explore this part of the map because I needed so-and-so to do this part of the map. So you gotta go back in later and do that. So it's really cool game. Highly recommend it, you guys. Please play it. Like I said, it is on Xbox, so go check it out. This one retails for $40. They do sales all the time, so check that out. This one is single player only. All right, so that just in case that's a factor for some of you. And then the other game that they made, if I can just switch over to the other video really fast. All right, so this video is for their game that came out actually the year before, but I'm bringing this one up as well because it was on Games with Gold last month. So for those of you who are like me and you just always just grab the games for gold and you don't play them, you grabbed it, go back and play it, because this one's absolutely fantastic. Let me just play through it, and this one is called Vikings Wolves of Midgard, and this one follows the Viking theme, obviously because of the title. So those of you that love Vikings, I'm gonna kind of skip ahead because we don't need like all the who made it stuff because we already covered that. The music in this game is amazing. It reminds me of the Vikings TV show on History Channel. So flipping good. So yeah, this is the same style as Shadow's Awakening, only you play as the Viking. And this game actually has 2-player co-op. So you'll be able to play with a friend, right there, online co-op. Fantastic. This game had some of the most hilarious dialogue I've experienced in a game in a while. Some of the dialogue I can't repeat because it's adult language, but there's going to be a really funny scene if you do play and you get to it. There's going to be one of the Norse guys you're trying to do business with, and you're trying to get them to, get allies. And you're going through all these hurdles to try to get them to become an ally, and everything is just not working, and you're getting frustrated, so you're going to run in, and the first thing you do is you scream at the top of your lungs, and you just cuss them out. And I just broke out in huge laughter because I was not expecting your character to just barge in there and just start cussing the person out because they'd had enough. It was hilarious. So I highly recommend this one as well. Like I said, it was on Games for Gold last month. So if you happen to snag it, please go back and play it. It is so fun. This one also released on PS4 and on PC. This one retails for $30. So if you missed it on Gold, you're gonna have to drop the $30 to get it, unless they put it on sale again or something like that. But yeah, fantastic games. Like I said, Calypso Media and Games Farm, they did a fantastic job with these. So yeah, anybody who's a fan of hack and slash action RPGs, these two games, need to put them on your list if you haven't tried them out because they're phenomenal games.
Fantastic segment with Cool Kat Terri. Yes, look forward to the Indie Spotlight each and every week right here. That actually went off pretty well. Terri, thank you so much for that. Great insight. And yes, we hope that you did pick up Vikings because it was free on Games with Gold. I think it's gone now. Am I correct? Or is it still out there? Sometimes they leave them for a bit. They're there for a while.
I think that one's already been replaced by a Mellow, I think.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, I should have. I don't know if I hit the download on that button or not. I can't remember, but yeah, cool stuff. All right. So moving on to the next segment of the show. We still got a few more topics and different things, but our next segment is the community member spotlight. So since I am the host of the show and I, started this podcast up, I figured I would pick my community member spotlight. Now I'm going to pick someone who is very familiar to a lot of people in the community. He was actually in the chat earlier, and I wanted to pick him simply because one, he kind of really was a shot in the dark. This is a perfect example about how someone can come out of the community and sort of make a big name for themselves, really make an impact in a lot of different ways, whether it's their gaming knowledge, their demeanor, how they talk, that sort of thing. So I wanted to pick this week my co-host panel member from Gaming After Dark, the one, the only, the middle-aged game guy, hails out of Ontario, Canada. He just went to work this morning. So too bad he couldn't stay for the whole show, but he will catch it on the replay. So I wanted to pick MAGG simply because, you know what? When I was doing a lot of my podcasts, he would be in the chat, just as a lot of you guys are. You're in the chat, and we've seen a few members in the chat already be on this show or on Gaming After Dark, I guess, like Doggy Dog and Jago Kukin and a few different guys. But I wanted to pick MAGG simply because, like I said, he was a big supporter. He was in a lot of the different chats for many a year, or at least for a while. And and he reached out to me. I think I was given the opportunity to be on some podcasts, and I think he said, I'd like to be on sometime, right? Like, and you guys know me, I'm pretty open to people coming on, which is how a lot of the people on this panel got selected. He just put it out there. I said, sure, Mag, I'll get you on Gaming After Dark sometime. I had no idea what he would be like. That's the thing. You never know what you're going to get. You bring these people on and you've never seen them before in a podcast. You've only seen them in a chat. I won't say names, but there was one guy one time before that was always supportive, always in the chats. And honest to God, I can't stand him in podcasts. I really can't. Can't stand his voice. I couldn't stand his demeanor. Couldn't stand the fact that he shouts over half of his panel members. And let me guess, I don't follow that guy, and he's never been on Gaming After Dark, and he will never be as long as I run the program. But anyway, not to get off stream, but Mag was just, he came on, he knocked it out of the park his first show. I mean, obviously the guy, he's got a certain something. He felt right at home right away, even though he told me he was nervous as hell. But he came in there, knocked it out of the park, brought a lot of wit, brought a lot of humor, brought a little bit of spunk to the way he delivered his stuff, and he made me laugh. And very few people can make me laugh in the way that the middle-aged game guy has made me howl. I mean, I generally find a lot of his stuff funny. His Tony Baloney segment on Gaming After Dark is genius, and very few people are doing anything like that right now. I suspect we're going to see a lot more of it in podcasts in the future, that sort of thing, because it's different, and it certainly breaks up the monotony of the constant just gaming chat or the console war nonsense and everything else. And he brings it in, and of course, if you've seen Gaming After Dark, he does this skit. Tony Baloney, he puts on an outfit, he gets in front of the camera, and he kind of takes shots, usually at Titan Drago, who is another panel member, and it's just hilarious. It's just funny, but he's just a great guy. Like, we become friends, and he's just an awesome guy in the community. Like, it's not everybody agrees with him. Like I said, he can be very vocal, as he often claims he's one of the loudest guys, and he is. A lot of people, oddly enough, mistake him for the Mooch a lot of times, which, for me, some guys may take that as a disservice, but I think Mag takes it as a compliment. And personally, when I told him, I said, you sound a bit like the Mooch, I meant it as a compliment, because shout out to the Mooch. A lot of people don't, some people don't like him. I like the Mooch. I really do. Mooch is a great guy, and Mooch is one of the most entertaining podcasters. Love him or hate him, he is still one of the most entertaining guys. The way he delivers is like no one else in his analogy. And Mag does a lot of the same, but Mag is his own guy. And so he does it in his own. It's just, he does have that similar delivery. But I won't ramble on too much longer. I just wanted the community shout out to Mag. He's just a great guy. He's an amazing panel member of Gaming After Dark, and people love him, and they come out to watch him and hear what he's got to say. And Mooch switch up his phone, he doesn't yell anymore. Maybe not so much, but yeah. So anyway, Mag, you get the first community shout out on the very first episode of this Good Morning Xbox. Next week, we'll have another panel. Pick someone from the chat, someone from the podcast, someone from the Twitch, wherever it might be. Someone that you just really like their take on things. So we'll get someone next week, and we'll find out who that's going to be here next week. So anyway, that is it for that. Congrats to you, Mr.
After Dark again, didn't you?
I know. I'm so used to saying that. Good. Well, they both start with the word G, right? They said the letter G. Gaming After Dark. Good Morning Xbox. So there you go. So anyway, guys, all right, let's move right along. We've got a few more segments to get into. Next up is Cerebral Paul. Cerebral Paul, a very special event. I guess a very important event in many ways. Kind of came down the pipes here recently. So this segment is called Accessibility with Cerebral Paul. Accessibility with Cerebral Paul.
Accessibility, yes.
Accessibility.
I kind of wish I had more information than I do, because they were supposed to put up the transcripts and stuff. But this last week they had the Ability Summit from Microsoft, and it was 2 days of keynotes and breakout sessions of different subjects that have to do with not only accessibility in gaming, but accessibility across all of Microsoft's platforms. I will say, I wish I had the exact number. Phil gave the number of disabled gamers that are in the ecosystem, and it was some humongous amount. I mean, and then part of me wanted to ask him, where do they get these numbers? Because it's not like they ask us, when we sign up, hey, are you disabled? I mean, they know I am, because I fill out all kinds of surveys and stuff, and same with a lot of other people. So I think any number he gave, just add a whole lot more to that. And it's not just the disabled that are like obvious, like me and other physically disabled or blind people like Sightless Combat, which if you've ever caught his content, you should check it out. He is 100% blind and he games. It's really fun to watch. So, but it goes to like somebody in our panel said they know somebody who is color deficient in brown, one of the more rare forms of color blindness.
Yeah, that was my friend.
Yeah. But you'll notice if you look at the accessibility things on a lot of games now, there's I think 3 different types of primary color blindness that they address. And that goes back, as far as I can tell, it goes all the way back to like Bejeweled from the Xbox Arcade was the first game that I noticed they had a colorblind option that would basically put patterns on the jewels so they could tell the difference between the reds and the greens primarily. It's really kind of interesting if you look at it too. When gaming first started, before we had the ability to have voiceovers and stuff, a lot of all the text was written out. If the character said something, you had to read it. We had text adventures. All of a sudden, in the 90s, they said, we can do video capture. So a lot of that went away for a while. And then went, wait, now the deaf people don't know what the heck is going on in the game. So they had to go back and add subtitles. So it's interesting to see how that's developed. But if you're interested in seeing what Xbox has done or Microsoft has done and where they're going and things they're looking at, and also some tools that you may not be aware that are out there. Look up, if you go to YouTube and look up Ability Summit, Microsoft, they have a whole page with all the breakout sessions they did over not only this year but last year as well are available. So if you're interested in that or you know somebody who is, check it out. And that's all I have for this week because, like I said, I didn't have access to the materials I was hoping they would put up. But, it's the way it is. That's it. Real quick death.
Hey, so I actually have a follow-up question for my friend who is color deficient. And
Yeah.
So, Paul, as you know, color blindness and color deficiency are 2 different things.
Right. And they address both of those differently.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I personally don't suffer from either one of those. So.
Mhm. So do they have different levels so that you can adjust the color deficiency? Like, how do they do it? Do they put up like the color blots, the little circles with the numbers hidden inside of it?
I've seen, like I said, since I don't have it, but I know that most games now have, most of the more recent games have 3 different modes they deal with. One is the red, green. The other one is a blue something. And I think you can, and some of them it is adjusting the shadeability, so you can tell the difference between the 2.
And just so that I can expose my friend to this option, I know that Gears 5 had a really good accessibility setting to it.
Right.
Is that still the best game for accessibility options to present, or how can I introduce him to this?
From what I can tell, that is basically the high watermark that they're set at right now.
All right.
Gears 5.
Thank you so much, Paul. Appreciate it.
Paul, how about the adaptive controller? True Racer just put in the chat, like he has the adaptive controller for his son, and it's made a huge impact for him who has autism. So how about you? Do you know anyone, or perhaps yourself? Do you have an adaptive controller? Know anyone has, and sort of feedback that, because that was a huge thing for Microsoft, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, that was a couple of years ago, and that was and I've always said it. I think I said it last week. I will ring this bell till from the mountaintop. Microsoft has been leading the way. The other companies, from what I understand, I think it may have come up on this show. The other companies were offered by Microsoft, hey, we'll show you how we do this and and they went, now we're good. Really? Yeah. So you just want to shut down, 40% of your possible gaming base because you don't want to work with us. Okay, fine.
Yeah, I think for some companies, they think it's going to cost them a lot more money than they'd see back on the return. And it shouldn't really be about that. I mean, Microsoft's got money to burn, and I get it. But just the fact that they're leading the way, they had initiative, and that alone has got to ring them some major favors with people that, like I said, struggle to play games in the traditional sense.
Yeah, they're actually, I still haven't heard from them, but aside from this summit, we had the regular Microsoft MVP summit last month. I was lucky enough to be invited to that as well. That is an invite only thing. And they actually want to speak to me about getting word out there more about things like the adaptive controller. How do they let people know it's out there or what it can do? Because so far their advertising or their focal point has been very limited. So they're actually reaching out to me going, how can we get this just so people know that, this is out there? And I have some ideas for them, and I'll be sharing that with them.
That's
But
awesome.
as for what your friend was asking, it's very adaptable. I have one, but I haven't. To be blunt, I haven't been able to afford the different parts I would need to make it do what I need to do, because I got it because I wanted to be able to, like in GTA, there's parts where you have to fly and stuff like that, and I can't fly with the controller for the life of me, the regular Xbox controller. I need an actual joystick or something. Excuse me. But when you plug a joystick in, it only recognizes it as left or right. So I would actually need two, and then it becomes a twin stick controller, which is fine. Which is for fighters and stuff like that, it'd be cool. I may do that, but you can basically go out and look for and buy the parts that you need, and only the parts you need to build up whatever system you need, including foot controls. I think they have eye tracing controls where they can follow your eyes and let you control things that way. But yeah, it's really cool. It's really adaptable. And they're always working on making it better. So hey, this is the morning show. This is the morning show, Jago.
I think Jago's in that frame of mind morning or night, huh? But...
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Get your mind off my joystick, Jago.
This chat's fantastic, guys. You really are MVPs, honest to God. I wish I could go out and hug you all because, man, we all need a good hug these days, man. This COVID stuff is crazy. I can't wait till developers too can get back to working normally, get back in their studios and get, with the team. Like, something, and I know off topic, but man, like shout out today to all the devs out there. They take so much flack, but honest to God, you know what? Most days it's hard enough to work with people in the same building, let alone try to do massive scale projects at home and basically be navigated through a series of emails and documents and weed through that. It's not like, oh, I got an issue here. Okay, the guy comes over and tweaks a couple of things. Can you only imagine the back and forth, the absolute frustration it has to be? We're not talking about a small project like these. We're talking about most of these are multi-million-dollar endeavors that have teams of more than 200 people, sound, motion capture.
Yeah.
Just picture all that and then just ease up the next time you want to really rag on someone for having. I mean, games are a little too broken, but at the same time, we got to cut them a little bit more slack.
And I saw somebody the other day rag on, well, it was only 9 months. It's not like they've been but I'll tell you what, most of those companies, they weren't set up at all for working from home to work on the big projects. They had to set up all that infrastructure on the fly. They had to figure out how to make it secure, how to make it work, all the while not being able to be near each other. Figure that out,
Absolutely. I can't even begin to imagine. I don't think most of us do, unless, like I said, you have a developer friend who's part of a big studio that can give you that ground floor experience themselves, and how different it has to be from going. I said, because we've all seen the videos of them working in their, in their cubicles and stuff like that. And the department, okay, well, the audio department's just down the hall to my right, or the computing programs over here, that sort of stuff, right? It's got to be a massive undertaking.
Oh, and Philly, yes, there are a lot of companies that are switching to primarily work from home because of this COVID. That actually may be the good side of what's come out of this. Is a lot, including Microsoft, has figured out how to make a lot of their workforce work from home. And it was, from what I understand, it's going to stay that way for the time being. So there you go.
Yeah.
Also, I was going to say, as far as my subject goes, real quick, if you do have any questions or I can help you with anything, just look me up on Twitter or at Cerebral Paul 1, or find me on Xbox at Cerebral Paul 921, or hit my YouTube channel or whatever. And if you have a question, I can help you. I will.
Yes, please do so. Reach out to Paul whether you have a question or you've seen a great article perhaps that we've missed, something that deals with these issues. Please send them to us. Same thing with Terry. If you see an indie game perhaps out there that you think deserves some love and support, drop her a message. Just send it to her. She'll take a look at it for you, and it could be featured on the show. That would be really cool. All right. So our next segment is with Scrub Nurse. He's going to tell you guys about what's new to Xbox, Game Pass, and gaming in general. So Scrubs, you're on deck, brother.
All right, guys, I know since you're here in the chat, a lot of you might already know this, but we're just going to pass along this information just to the people who might not know. So a lot of this stuff you can follow it along with me in your Xbox app, but let's just look. Shout out to Graphic God.
Yes.
Recently added over here in the Game Pass, we got FIFA 2021. And I'm just going to highlight, guys, some of the bigger titles. There are going to be some indie stuff in there. Do a little bit of your research if you want to, but I'm just going to pick out the ones that I think are really cool. We also got Outlast 2. That's an action adventure game. That one is a single player game. So that one's pretty cool. I don't know if a lot of you guys remember, but Destroy All Humans also has come out. And basically on that one, you're playing as a little alien and you're just trying to take out the human population. It was a cool, fun game.
Fun game.
Yeah,
Fun.
back in the day. So now we have that in Game Pass. A lot of you know that just came out was Second Extinction. And if you've been watching any of the Xbox preview shows in the last year or so, that's the one where you're going and fighting all the different dinosaurs with all your different shooter type guns, machine guns, pistols, and all that stuff. Multiplayer game, shoot 'em up dinosaur type stuff. So if that's up your alley, we got that there. Also, since we're there, let's go talk about what's leaving Game Pass. If you want to check some of that stuff out, because there's some great games in there that you might want to grab. The way I look at it with Game Pass, if there's something you might think about getting, just get it. And you can always come back to it later, but at least you'll have it in there before it leaves. Because I know a lot of people say, I might think about wanting to play that game. Then 3 or 4 months pass by, you forgot about it, and then it's gone. So it's always good if you got the space, get the game and then get it later if you just can't get to it. Because I know all of us have a long backlog. So Final Fantasy IX is leaving on the 16th of this month. Another great game that was popular and everybody was on it for a while was Hotline Miami. I don't know if any of you guys played that already. And then there was one more that I was thinking, Alan Wake. If you haven't had a chance to play Alan Wake, please get it. This game is leaving on the 16th. Get it on your console, save it whenever you get a chance to play it. Alan Wake, Hotline Miami, those two. And if you want Final Fantasy IX, but Hotline Miami and Alan Wake, I think are games you definitely need to jump on.
Oh, Alan Wake's great.
Oh, yeah. And then last but not least, we're just going to talk about what is coming as far as new releases for the month of May for our Xbox. As we just talked about earlier in the program, Resident Evil Village is out. Came out May 7th. So if you hadn't had a chance to get that, please do. I plan on getting it maybe even today. May 10th is Hood, Outlaws and Legends. And that's going to be a multiplayer game. They have different factions, class-based stealth game. So once again, that's
I understand that does have a single-player mode as well.
Oh, okay, even better. And that says it's a classic Robin Hood legend game where you have your different factions and you play together, or single player. So that's Hood, Outlaws and Legends. Also, another big one, especially for the people who haven't had a chance to get on this game before. If you were too young when this game came out, if you're an older player and you never got a chance to get into it, this is right up your alley. May 14th, Mass Effect Legendary Edition. Please get on the game. If it isn't, but to play 1, 2, and maybe possibly 3. I know We have back and forth in the gaming community about the different Mass Effect games, but just to even have a base, of understanding of where the story comes from, the way the game plays. I think this is something, if you hadn't had a chance to get on, Mass Effect's Legendary Edition would be a great place to start. Coming out May 14th.
Lupus says it's only multiplayer, but that goes against the information. In fact, I was yelled at when I asked if it had single player. I just said it did was the way I was responded to, and I immediately blocked that person. So there you go.
It's all good.
Yeah, I can't wait for Mass Effect, man. I'm definitely buying that game. I can't wait to jump back into the trilogy.
Yes.
Especially with the upgrades and the enhanced visuals and stuff. At least it's just not a 1080 or like a 4K port per se. They definitely went back and made some adjustments. So,
yes,
one of the greatest franchises out there, in my personal opinion, and the fact that it's made just down the road from me here in Edmonton, Canada, is even more impressive. That's pretty cool, man. Lots of great games coming out of the Great White North. Hey, there's a lot of things we don't know up here, but one thing we do know pretty well up in Canada is how to make some pretty kick-ass games.
Yes, and I got two more, and then that'll be it for this segment. May 21st, Rust Console Edition. If you guys haven't heard of this game, this has mainly been on PC, but now they have made it set up for console, and this is an online multiplayer game. Folks have been waiting on for a while. I've had friends that have had this on PC that have been just hounding me. You got to get it. You got to get it. You got to get it. We got to play together. So that's been highly anticipated if you want to check out another multiplayer shooter game. And then the last, if you guys don't know or haven't heard about this, I will look this up on YouTube on May 25th, Biomutant.
Yes, that looks a really, really cool game.
And this is an open world RPG action game. It's dealt with post-apocalyptic times, and you're actually playing as the little furry animals that have survived the apocalypse. You can change your character depending on what kind of gameplay type you want to play. It's been pretty cool looking online and seeing how the games go. It's real interesting. So if you're into RPGs, this might be one that's up your alley. And that's all I got for coming up in May and what's coming new to Xbox.
There you go, guys. Hope you've been taking down notes from Scrub Nurse with lots of games out and lots of games coming. So he'll be back here again next week telling us what's new and what's leaving. So check it out. Make sure you got your subscription to Game Pass. Everybody's just laughing. Dude, stop telling us, man. Get it yourself. Oh, the jokes I always get are hilarious all the time.
Yeah,
Game Pass. Oh my God, it's hilarious. All right, let's head over to Axle. He's got a segment on the show. It's all about xCloud. It's xCloud Axle. That's what we're going to call him from now on. xCloud Axle.
No.
Take it over.
All right. So if anybody knows me, I'm really grateful to be alive right now and have seen video games go from 8-bit NES all the way to now gaming on the cloud.
Facts.
The tech is great, and I'm happy that I'm alive to witness this. I'm not one of those grumpy old men that don't change my stuff. Whatever. Let's advance. Let's get into the future. I want some Ready Player One stuff. But
get off my lawn. Get off.
Yeah.
There you go.
But xCloud is Xbox's game streaming service. For those of you who don't know, they use actual Xbox blades in the servers, so they're actual physical Xboxes in the servers to stream Xbox games over the cloud onto your devices, your phones primarily, Android phones, and they're moving over into Apple phones, and now they're moving over into the PC space with the browsers. But yeah, for those of you who don't know, it used to be called Project xCloud. Then it used to be called Xbox Game Pass Streaming. Game streaming, the Xbox Game Pass game streaming, say that 10 times fast. And now it's just called Xbox Game Streaming. I don't know why they didn't stick with the xCloud. I think that's a much better name in my personal opinion. But you can only get access to the beta through Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, and that's only to the Android. The iPhone and the PC is invitation only. So if you didn't get an invite, too bad, so sad, they'll get it later. You'll add it later. But for those of you who don't know, I did a review video, and I'm going to drop it here in the chat, comparing several different ways of streaming Xbox game streaming. I did it over Wi-Fi, and then I did it over 4G, and I uploaded videos of what it looks like. And I use Halo because Halo is a fun game. It's a fast game, and it's a game that I know very well, as anybody who knows me knows. So I can be very critical and notice a lot of the differences on it. It plays serviceable on 4G, but Wi-Fi is really the way to play it. If you go through a bunch of VPNs, it plays worse. So, like at my job, I use their Wi-Fi. Don't tell anybody to try it, right? And we go through a VPN in San Antonio and then go out to the web. So all our data goes to San Antonio first, and then it goes out to the web, and it adds an extra layer of delay. And games like Halo are just not serviceable through VPNs. So Xbox Game Pass streaming will not work if you're using any VPN service very well. So yeah, for those of you who want me to test the game, right now I'm testing Banjo-Kazooie. I'm playing through the whole game because it has touch controls, and it's an old game that I know from the 64, and it's a rare game, and it's an older platformer. And those are the type of games that xCloud really works on, is the older, forgiving games. If you're going to play something like Code Vein on xCloud, you better have a really good Wi-Fi connection.
Yes.
Or Halo. You better have a really good Wi-Fi connection. And I've played Halo. I played through all of Halo Master Chief Collection, Halo 1 and 2 on xCloud, and it worked out great. Oh, Newf just left, and I need him. And I wanted to show everybody here some gameplay here. Let me see if I can share this screen and turn my video off. Okay, share screen. I want to share screen 2 here. Here we go. Just share this portion of the screen. How do I make this my main screen? I don't know how to do that, Newf.
I'm not sure. Maybe ask Terry.
Terry, how'd you do it?
I didn't. Newf did it.
Oh,
I didn't do
Newf.
it either.
I got you in solo. I got you in solo layout.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Click on share screen.
He wants his screen share up.
Oh, right. Share.
Right.
Yeah. There you go.
Okay. See if that works here. So once the screen starts sharing, this is Xbox Game Pass on PC once it starts. And Xbox Game Pass on PC, there it goes. That's the wrong tab. Why did it pick the wrong tab? That's kind of weird. I told it to share the other screen. Let me see if I can move that. Hold on 1 second.
Oh, hang on. I think I got this one. Here we go.
There it is. Okay.
Hey!
Woo, we did it. Okay, so Xbox Game Pass, even on the PC, is only at 720p. You're not going to get 1080. So if you got like a really big monitor, you're going to see pixelation. But this is a perfect game for Xbox Game Pass. MLB The Show, as you know, they did not make this for the PC. And here I am playing it on my browser. And it's really neat because when you push the little Xbox button here, I'm going to go ahead and push it. It actually brings up your Xbox guide as if you're on an actual Xbox. And you can see all your things here. Colorado Rockies being my favorite baseball team. I don't know who else is joining there, but it's really a good game to show on here. Hold on, let me see if I can get to some gameplay.
Baseball? What's that?
Yeah, baseball. And you can really just see it's a slower paced game, more methodical, and it seems to run pretty good. And Xbox Game Pass game streaming, I'm going to go ahead and stop this now. Hold on. Xbox Game Pass game streaming only works on Chromium-based browsers. So Google Chrome and Edge Chrome are the only ones that will work. If you have Internet Explorer, it will not work. If you have Firefox or Opera, it will not work. It does work on Safari on Mac, but they're using a third-party software. They have to interface to something else for the control, and it creates even more latency. So it's not working really well on that right now. Hold on, let me throw my pitch here. And so, yeah, it only works on that. I also have another video where I compare Google Chrome to Edge Chromium. Edge Chromium has less lag than Google Chrome on my setup, and I've tried it several times. And that's what I'm really basing my thing on is xCloud. I really enjoy it. I play it almost every day. I especially like that I can play it in my bedroom. My wife and I have a rule: no TVs in the bedroom. So it's kind of neat that when she falls asleep, I can pull out my phone and play some games still without getting out of bed and going to one of my gaming rooms. Oh, I must have missed the count here. But whatever. So yeah, it works great. You can also quit the game right out. Let me see if I can quit it here. And it'll take you to a little survey because I am in the invite only.
Yeah.
And it's asking for a survey. I'm going to go ahead and skip that for now. And here, this is the exact same Game Pass that's on my phone. I have access to over 100 games. And as you can see, this is the one I'm reviewing right now, Banjo-Kazooie.
Nice.
But it has all these games. It does have less games than Xbox Game Pass on the console, but it has... and less games than Xbox Game Pass PC. And the only gripe I truly have with Xbox Game Pass beta right now or Xbox Game Pass as a whole, is that it's fragmented. A game might be on console that's not on PC. A game might be on streaming that's not on console or PC. All that good stuff. So that's the only part that is the downside to it. But all of these games work. I can't wait to play Flight Simulator on this. It's one of my favorite games, and it would be so nice to play it over streaming.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I cannot wait till they upgrade the blades to series blades. And that's all I have. If anybody has any questions, once again, I have my where'd my thing go here? Here we go. And I can stop sharing here. There we go.
Perfect. All right. Yeah, bear with us, guys. Like a lot of the StreamYard stuff too, even for myself, I really haven't been like going too deep with it normally. So I'm trying to figure out where all of the little buttons and controls are navigated, and a little bit of a work in progress, but we're getting there. It's really actually fairly simple to use. It's like anything, right? It's like buying a new PC laptop. When you get used to a new operating system or new things, you got to find out where everything's located and what button does what, and where it hits audio, what puts video, and it's just a smorgasbord, and it can be pretty tough on a podcast. Like, shout out to all the podcasters who do this stuff on the full, always balancing their audio and their video and their clips and this, that, because honest to God, like it's a little more work than people think it is. You're basically almost like a producer and a switchman. And if you're not really paying attention and stuff like that, it gets pretty tricky. But that was a great segment with Axel. Let's coming back again next week. You'll have more stuff about xCloud and streaming games. And let's get over to Eternal Shaddai. I think he's got a new segment. I think it's called How to Look Pretty with Eternal Shaddai.
No, I don't have at this very moment. I really don't have a segment yet, but I'm still looking for one that is specific for me. But no, I'm not looking pretty here. It's just very interesting on, each panel, what they know, and I'm grasping and all that. So I'm learning from areas that I really don't know.
That's hilarious. Paul's
look at
like
the
big
cat.
tats.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Paul, put your pants on. It's getting furry.
The kitty. She decided, I knew she was going to do this before the end.
That was awesome. That was a great cameo. Especially where it was located there for a second. It was pretty funny.
That's awesome.
Oh, my Lord.
Yep. She wants my attention.
Hey, like Graphic God, but producing is easy, remember, Newf? No, it is certainly not. And Graphic God does it very, very well.
He does.
And like Retro Renegades, guys, fantastic podcast. If you haven't checked it out, just a lot of fun. Jay and company have a lot of good crew, a lot of fun people under each and every Tuesday. And I love that he does a lot of the retro games. You'll actually see him doing gameplay of these actual games live on his channel. There's really, really cool stuff. It takes you down memory lane. And the guys, you know, they go out and they just they shoot the breeze, right? They talk a little bit about some of the gaming topics, but generally they can be all over the place and a lot of fun. So go check out it's Jago Kukin and the Graphic God and Crispy Bomb is on there, and I think it's Infinite. Stinking Corpse, at sometimes he's kind of on and off. They've had a lot of guys. Supersonic Station. I don't know if he's there anymore. Dragonheart Yobi's in there. Yeah, he's in the chat too. Dragonheart Yobi. There you go. So we got 3 of the retro renegades.
I've been
there.
showing up lately. I've been showing
You've
up.
been there. There's some loud guy that's been on here the last couple of weeks. I'm like, damn, I'm turning that shit down. Good stuff. All right, shout out to the Retro Renegades guys. Like I said, support and be supported. Mike Molis and those guys in here too from the original Next Level Gaming. So there you go, guys. Yep. Yeah. So and any further thing, I think that's kind of it for that. And yes, Shaddai will have a segment coming soon. As I said, over the coming months, we're going to be tweaking the show. We want to hear back from you. What you're liking, perhaps things you think need to be cut shorter, need to be improved on. Just let us know. Anything at all in the show, just let us know, because we want to make this show entertaining and keep you here for it as well. And there's going to be giveaways in the future, all that fun stuff. We already did a giveaway right off the intro show. So again, congratulations to Jago on the 1-month Game Pass, and to Doggy Dog for winning the game of his choice. So yes, don't forget our special guest, Beer. We need our good friend UK Dazzers going, Bill. Show up to Dazzy, man. Hope you're doing well.
It's the morning, man. We gotta replace it with coffee.
I got my energy drinks ready to go for when I tackle Resident Evil here next. All right, I'm gonna be getting back into that. I guess our last
and Jago, stop suggesting that they get rid of the Paul guy. Okay, I'm not going anywhere. Please.
We started seeing all these things in the DM. Get rid of that Paul guy. Huh?
No hot tubs though. No hot tubs.
No hot tubs.
Man, I just ordered one from Amazon. Holy crap!
Oh.
It would be so easy for Paul to do it. You just set your green screen to hot tub. You'll be all right.
Great. That'd be fun. Honest to God, if one of you guys comes on this show one of these nights and you got the hot tub, I'm going to kick myself laughing. Honest to God. You never know what you're going to see on Good Morning Xbox. As long as there's no nudity, because you'll never see the show again. I'm sure we'll be kicked off real quick.
Real quick.
Very quick. Yeah, that's it for Good Morning Xbox. Somebody took their clothes off. The show is now completed. Can you imagine that's your last memory of this particular podcast? Somebody nude. Then we're gonna need what do you call it? Axle, your friend that's got the color disorientation thing? That's where that will come in quite handy, probably.
Yeah. If not, I'm going to be color deficient from then on out too.
Oh crap! I guess is our last topic. It's just sort of an impressions topic. I want to get everybody's reaction to the Xbox Series S and the Xbox Series X. It's been in the wild now for like over 6 months. I know a lot of people still struggling to get them. I have seen lately a lot more people been able to score an Xbox Series S, including our good friend Graphic God in the chat who just posted pictures. So I'm glad that people are finally starting to get a trickle of them. I have seen some S's at some of my local stores, so that's good. So things are coming out. But what's your impression, everybody, with your experience with it so far? The things that you're really liking, that sort of thing. And I'll let anybody take the floor on this one. Whoever wants to jump in here, if you have one or not. Maybe I know Scrub's still trying desperately to get his hand on a Series X, and I'm not sure he will land one soon.
Yes.
Everybody press F in the chat for Scrub Nurse not having a Series X.
Please do. Oh yeah.
But anyone to talk about your impressions so far?
I couldn't go back now. If you begged me to pay me $1 million, I would not go back to a 1X, because the load times alone are worth it.
Yeah.
The graphic stuff is pretty, but for me, it's all about the speed. Really, seriously, as weird as that sounds.
For me, I really like the Series X, but I do have one complaint. It's the fact that you don't have the choice to play the downgraded version of the game. And this has run into an issue for me when playing Watch Dogs Legion online, because that game doesn't have cross-gen. So if I want to play that game and my friends still have an Xbox One, they can't play it with me. And I can't downgrade to the Xbox One version. I had to go reinstall it on my Xbox One so I could play with them. So that's an issue.
I thought they did have the option for some.
They do not.
Do not.
But that sounds like a Ubisoft issue.
No, that's an Xbox issue because
Really?
Even if you install just the Xbox and you choose that you don't want to put it on the internal, it won't let you play the game. You can't even start it up until you do that Series X upgrade. So you're forced to play that version. You're forced.
There was another game out there like that too. I think we ran into that a few weeks ago during one of the community game nights where we went to play it, and the people that were on the older platforms or whatever couldn't jump in. It was negating them because they don't have the latest version or whatever. So
yeah, so that's like my only complaint that I have at the moment for the series is that it would be nice to have the option to downgrade if so you can play with other people who haven't had the ability to get the new console yet.
Anybody else want to weigh in on their impressions?
Well, for me, actually, I like the quick resume because I'm like right off the bat. You know what I mean? Because sometimes I'll be playing one game and all of a sudden I'm like, you know what? Let me go back. Or I have to go back to the main title. But then all of a sudden I see the quick resume. I'm like, oh my goodness, I love this quick resume because I don't want to wait. I just want to go back to the gaming. But I do have one problem. I don't know about you guys if you have that problem. On my controller, I have the damn Joy Drift. I was playing Call of Duty and I was playing Warzone. All of a sudden, my camera started moving up. Even when I was running, it was moving up all by itself. And I'm like, oh, don't give me this now. Because I know they mentioned that on the PlayStation before. And I thought the Xbox wasn't going to have it. But then all of a sudden, I began to have the drift also. And I'm like, oh, God, not this. So every single time that I was playing Call of Duty, I was having a problem with that. And I'm like, oh, boy. So I ended up buying another controller, but I hope it does have an answer for that.
Well, that's not a widespread issue.
No, it's very small. It's very small.
I would also say that the first thing I would try to do is try to get some denatured alcohol and clean it up really well because there may be something that got inside the controller.
Probably because I'm like I never had that before. Until I start, probably you are correct on that one because I kind of move. But all of the time when I start using the controller again, it started moving up, and I'm trying to move it all around to see if something was stuck, but nothing was stuck. And I'm
you can see, that's the whole thing is. So you just take a Q-tip and some.
Oh, not the you could see because mine is completely new, so nothing visible, nothing.
Yeah, hey, I got to just jump in here with something real quick. In Arnold Schwarzenegger's voice. No, put that pussy down.
Oh, hey.
It's a morning show.
Morning show.
Morning show. Oh.
Arnold, go away.
Go back to your hot tub.
We got the best hot tub ever. You guys should come over and share it with me. I'm going to make the water bubble and boil, but it's not even on.
And he's on the game, gaming after dark that he was trying to sell that water. So,
oh, wow. Oh.
When the water is all bubbly, but you haven't even turned on the jets, yes, that's the best kind of water.
Oh boy,
good stuff. All right, just had to get that in there.
My Series X, I love it. I love it so much, it's not even funny. I am a collector, so I don't sell any of my old consoles. And with the backwards compatibility program the way it is, I get to, disk drives wear out, laser discs wear out, all that good stuff wear out. So it's really nice that I can move all my old purchases into my newest console with Xbox. And a lot of them have FPS boost. A lot of them have HDR. Like one of my favorite series, as everybody knows, is Panzer Dragoon. Panzer Dragoon Orta has some of the best HDR implementation in the back compat program. And it's only doable on the series consoles. Batman Arkham Knight HDR is phenomenal.
Yeah.
And you can turn it on and off and reload the game to see the difference, and it's there. It looks great. But the biggest game changer for next gen was definitely the load times and quick resume. I never thought quick resume was going to be that big of a feature when they were showing it off until I used it. And I jumped between a lot of games, and not having to see the publisher and developer and hit the start button and load my game and all that other crap, just get right back into it. Oh man, that's so awesome.
My only issue with quick resume is the server-based games that time out when they're in quick resume, and then you go to get back in and you get server errors and you got to kill the game anyway.
Yeah,
I wish they would kill those so that they couldn't use quick resume because they have that ability.
Yeah, I know that Destiny, if you're inactive for so long, it boots you off the server. So I know that they do that. I also like the one of the things, the HDR 10 on my Xbox Series is different than my Xbox One X. When I put HDR on, I left my TV the same way, and I put the Xbox Series HDR on. It's oversaturated everything.
Yeah.
I had to manually adjust my TV to where it was perfect. But once you get it down, it's some of the best HDR you've ever seen.
Now, did you go in and did you calibrate the HDR on the Xbox itself?
I did. I did it all the way around. My TV, I got out. I got the white balance, all that good stuff,
Well, because a lot of people don't realize that they're on the Xbox now, on the Series X, where you go in and you can,
It helped to calibrate on the Xbox, but it still oversaturated games, especially games like Destiny that have a lot of dark mixed with bright.
Yeah, they said that was ever since they started it, they said that was going to be one of the issues with the auto HDR, that it was going to oversaturate some stuff.
Yeah, but overall, I love my Series X. Yeah. The controller, so I've grown up a Sega guy. I grew up with this kind of D-pad, the one that is all the way around, not the individual D-pad like my, hold on, I'm going to just grab a different controller. Like my Nintendo controller, this one. I hate this D-pad for fighting games. I hate this D-pad for almost every reason. I hate this D-pad. And don't even get me started on the PlayStation.
Those corners
D-pad.
Are sharp.
Oh, yeah.
Don't even get me started on the PlayStation not D-pad.
Yeah.
So this D-pad for me is the best D-pad in the business. I love it. I know that in the long term, this D-pad wears out more than this D-pad does, but who cares about that? I'll just buy another controller.
Not all of us.
Oh, hold on. Yeah, this D-pad right here is much better than this D-pad.
Oh, I like the way
what
you
about
touch my D-pad. Oh.
Yo, what about the D-pad from the Duke that it was all connected into one, not separately?
Yeah, that's a different story. But I love the Duke. I love the Duke controller. I don't care what anybody says. They're like, oh, it's too big. This, I don't know where that's from. There's no such thing as too big. For your hands. There's no such thing, guys.
Morning show. I have to remind you. Morning show. Yes.
Hey, that's an innuendo. If you innuended that into something dirty, that's your problem.
That's your problem.
No, it's not a problem. It's a skill. Okay, I'm just
saying. It's a skill. Level 10 innuendo.
There's a reason that Paul smiles so much.
All
yes. If you're like graphic card, the D-pad is super important indeed. Who else wanted to weigh in? Did everybody have a chance to kind of speak on this?
I'll put in something.
Go ahead, brother.
Even though I don't have one just yet, I put it in the chat. But there's something else I follow on Twitter. A lot of times my thumbs aren't fast enough to get it. But if you follow at Xbox stock alerts. All day long, they'll pop in when they get new stock in. Do Xbox Series. If you are interested in just getting the new Xbox, go to the next generation, and you just want a S. S's are a whole lot easier to get than X's. You can probably go online somewhere today and possibly get an S. I know the X is where there's real problems on the restocks. But this site on Twitter, like I said, is Xbox Stock Alerts. I'll put it in the chat. It'll pop updates all day. It even has it on the page right now. Next week, Target, GameStop, Amazon, and some more will have restock between May 10th through the 16th. And so be out looking for that. It has definitely helped me almost get one. But like I said, they go out real quick. We're still fighting bots, and we're just still fighting people who are getting them real quick. I think if we didn't have the bot problem, a lot more people would definitely have their hands on it. Those bots,
I agree with you.
knock them out in 1 minute or less a lot of times.
And I've said on other shows that at the summit I was at, Phil has said that they're hoping to have stuff readily available by the end of June, where you can just walk into a store and start picking stuff up. And the S's are already showing up. We're just waiting on the X's to start making their appearance.
Yeah. Well, I love all of the things that you guys mentioned. I mean, quick resume, although I really haven't used that feature all that much. For me, I guess it's a little harder for me because I'm basically disc-based, right? So my quick resume is how fast I can get my butt off of the chair over to my game collection most of the time. But it still doesn't really bother me. But I really, like I said, the loading things are huge. We didn't even realize how bad I think they were until you get a Series X and you watch these games just almost instantaneously like that, especially some of those ones that had really lethargic load times, things like a lot of the Rockstar games, which are known for heavy load screens and things like that. So that's kind of huge. I mean, a lot less waiting. It's finally nice to be able to boot your games up and not be able to sit on your Twitter for like the first 5 minutes checking all your stuff. Oh, the game's still going. So that's nice. And I mean, obviously, like I said, all of those older games now feel almost new again, because not only do you get the resolution bump and things are crisper and cleaner and the auto HDR, but boy, just the fact that the extra frames on a lot of games that normally used to chug a little bit or felt a little bit slow are now fast and pristine. It's almost like getting like free remasters from Xbox. It's unbelievable. It makes you just want to go back and play some of your favorite classics, and just see them the way I guess developers almost intended them to be. So there's lots of great things to like about the Xbox, regardless of the first party games and stuff like that. And now you can try so many with Game Pass. It's fantastic. And speaking of controllers, this is my favorite stock controller right here. Let me just pull up the screen real quick. I love this controller.
Gears 5, baby.
While you're pulling up the screen, let me throw out real quick that in case anybody in the chat by chance didn't know, Xbox added over 100 games to the FPS boost just this last week. With like 3 days ago.
Yeah.
So,
hey, hold that thought on that controller you got there for a minute. I'll be right back.
That's my favorite stock. I mean, not only is the graphics absolutely amazing on this controller, you can feel the actual logo here in the middle, like it's kind of raised a little bit, but it's the rubber gripping on the back that you can't really see, but you can feel it, and very few of the stock controllers have that. And of course, I love how if you look at the thumbstick, see they're blue underneath. This was the one that came. Well, you could buy it separately, but it came with the Xbox, the Gears 5 limited edition. That's how I got mine. I love this controller. It's my favorite on my stock, next to my Crimson Omen one that I have. And these guys here, you can buy them at your local retailer. And if you're looking for you don't want to spend, well, I guess in the States, I guess the Xbox controllers are what? The average one is $60. Am I right?
Yeah.
$60 up here in Canada usually retail about $74.99 to $79, pretty much the price of a game. But if you're looking for like a really well built and decent controllers that won't set the bank back, you can get them in wired or wireless versions. But like I scored this one. This is actually a wired one. I just have the wired attached. But these Power A controllers, absolutely phenomenal. They make a wide variety for Xbox and for the Switch, and they feel really good. Like outside, my only gripe is the triggers. The triggers don't feel tactile enough. They're very, very loose, but the bumpers are nice. They don't have a real hard clickiness to them. And as you can see here with the new Power A controllers, they even have the share button. The share button's right in the middle here, which is great. The thumbsticks feel like almost identical to the Xbox ones and stuff. And the D-pad is easy to use. It's not hard and stiff. So a lot of good things to like about the Power A controllers. And one other thing as well, which I haven't figured out the use for them yet, but if you look closely, they even have little bumpers underneath. so that you can set those up for different games as well. That's pretty cool. So
Nice.
yeah, so really cool little controller, and these things only set you back. I think in Canada you can get the wireless ones for about $50, and these will set you back about 30 something. I think I got this one on sale, and it cost me next to nothing. But like I said, if you're looking for a cheap alternative that feels nice, looks nice, that's the way to go. I don't really like the camo, but that one was on sale, so I took advantage of it. So anyway, that's just a little tidbit there if you're looking for something. So all right. Woo! All right, good stuff.
Hey, if we're going to favorite
I like-
controllers, this is my favorite controller right here.
Man, I love that controller.
Ooh. Let me pull you up here. Here you go. Let's bring them up so you can see that closer.
The
There you
Sea of
go.
Thieves controller.
Yeah,
I loved it
that's
so
a
much.
sweet
It
one,
also
too.
scored the charging station to match it.
Oh,
Wait,
that's nice.
wait.
There
I
you
think
go.
I had. Oh, I think I forgot. Oh, I left it at the other house.
This is my favorite controller right here.
Nice.
I display it. I rarely use it because I don't want to put fingerprints on it.
Man, I forgot because I bought the Mandalorian one and I have it kind of hidden.
Oh wow.
I got that one hidden.
Super chat from Lupa. She drops £5 in the chat. You and your panel get what? Or get
Gel.
so well.
Gel.
Gel so well. Love the way the discussions flow. You guys rock indeed. So thank you so much, Lupa. You rock too. You're one of the greatest supporters out there. Great lady to play games, but we're having a blast playing It Takes Two. We got to finish it up. I think we got 3 levels left, if I'm correct. Axel asked everybody in the chat as well, where did you get your Series consoles from? I'll just say mine. I got my Series X from Best Buy. Where'd everybody else score one from?
Holy cow, Philly Eagle got 3 of them?
I got my first one through Target, and then the other 2 I got directly through Microsoft.
Target
Store
and
for me. Microsoft Store for me because I wanted those. I get those points back too, so it's like
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
I tried Target, but then again, I finally got it from Amazon.
Wow.
I
Target and
just
Amazon.
wish they had a design labs for this one right here.
Oh. Did you get it engraved?
Oh yes.
No.
Steve.
Wait, that's
For
it
the
too.
Elite. For the Elite 2.
Oh,
if
no
they had a design labs for this, I'd be all over it. I might buy 2 or 3 of these things.
It's funny that you
This is the
mentioned that
greatest
because I had that
controller.
on mine too.
I miss my Elite too.
Yeah, and Microsoft did say Design Labs is coming back this year.
I camped out at GameStop for 14 hours to score my Series X. They only had 4, and I was customer number 4, and I was not losing my spot.
Calantis drops $5 into Super Chat, says, this new Series controller is my favorite controller. The Titanfall controller was also my favorite design.
Oh,
the
yeah.
Titanfall one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good one.
I like that on the Series controller. I like that it has a lot better grip in the back.
Yeah.
And the triggers even have grip. Like that's amazing. Like because like the older controllers never had grip. So the fact that the triggers now have grip is completely. It's just amazing. I love it.
It's just how precise the controller is when it comes to shooters. It's so precise.
Mm-hmm.
And remember the new controller that came with the Series X is low latency, almost 0 latency.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's correct.
They are patching the Elite 2 controller to be the same way.
Yeah, and if there's one area that Microsoft is still like really taking it to the competition, and I know we get made fun of for it, and I'm sure we'll get made fun after today's podcast. I can already hear the things. Oh, you guys brag about controllers, but you got no games, right? But Xbox is really killing it in the controller department. Like I said, not only have they got the adaptive controller, but the amount of design, the amount of fan service that they give is absolutely astonishing. Like compared to Sony. Like they have colored controllers, right? Cool. They got some really cool colors, but they really haven't done much, like in terms of special designs or really making them stand out. Other than here's a color.
Let me point out one of the things.
Stickers here, stickers there.
Yeah, the Sony boys say about well the new controller, and in the Xbox controller they really didn't change anything. I'll tell you what, that Xbox controller I have here, it's not the same Xbox controller I had 5-6 years ago. They've updated it and changed it over time, primarily internally because externally it's darn near perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no matter how many controllers you have, guys, just remember you don't have to buy them all.
That's right. That's
Right?
right.
At the end of the day, you don't have to buy them. No one's forcing you to buy them all.
But some of them are kind
Yeah.
of tempting because it looks so
Oh.
cool, though.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, and it's easy money for them, right? It's not that hard of an investment because the design is there. They just change a few features, and the thing is, they make money on controllers. That's the key thing: is they make money on them, and they lose on the console. And they know the average gamer is going to want at least a second controller. And most of us who are hardcore probably have at least 4. How many does everybody have on the panel? I have 7.
I mean,
Oh, wow.
controller wise.
Yes, I have 7
Like-
controllers.
All my Xbox controllers, or just which ones?
Your Xbox One, your Xbox Series consoles.
I have 3.
3.
I just
have 3
use
right now,
the
too.
I just use the one that comes with it, and I don't buy other ones unless I need to replace one.
Right.
Oh, I should say I got to find my favorite.
Yeah, I just stick with it.
Yeah.
Like for the Xbox One, I had the same one out of the box with the console for like 6 years before I had to replace it before I got adrift in it. So like they're built real sturdy, and I love that. And so compared to my PlayStation 4, I went through like 3 controllers in like a very short amount of time because they just don't hold up.
Right.
But another great thing about the Xbox controllers is the battery life is so darn good. I only have to like charge it once a week, whereas my PlayStation controller, I was charging it like every 4 to 6 hours.
Yeah.
There it is, boys. That's my
engraved it. You
design.
engraved
There's
it.
my controller, my design
Oh,
lab.
that's beautiful.
And I based this on the Edmonton Oilers, my favorite hockey team, the blue, the orange, and the white. And as you can see, Nukem. There you go.
Nice.
I have 2 Xbox Series controllers, the black one that came with it, and I bought the white one. And then I have probably 10 Xbox One controllers, mostly special editions. But I would say once the Elite Series controllers came out, that was it. That was my daily driver.
Yeah. I really need to replace my Elite. I missed
Those back paddles are game changers, and I don't know why they didn't make that standard on this. Like if they would have put those
They
paddles
gotta
on
make
these,
you buy the controller.
That's it. They would have won.
Yeah.
It's funny that Chase said Super Lucky's Tale, and they actually did a Super Lucky's Tale controller that looked almost identical to mine, to the one I just did, but I did my design before the Lucky's Tale game was even out. But it looks like a Lucky's Tale controller, which is odd. So obviously have something in common with Lucky's Tale.
Yeah, I won this.
Hey,
This is
all right.
the blue one, the limited edition one they did last year. I won it off a drawing. So
Hard to
you
see it
won
because
that?
of your because of your green screen. It's kind of looking like it's trying to be orange and gray.
yeah, that's kind of weird. Yeah, but it's the Onyx blue. It's the Onyx blue.
Oh yeah.
Controller.
Congratulations, Paul.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing see through in my house is my underwear. Sorry.
He's got the limited. Paul's got the limited edition Pro Elastic controller. All
There
right,
you go.
Nice.
one of a kind.
Nice.
Yes.
The question is, which controller would you like to see Microsoft make, like from any game or anything like that, for 2021? Since it's a new
Halo controller. That's it.
Yes, definitely.
That's the only one I care about. I don't care how much money it costs. I'm buying it.
The Sam Fisher limited edition.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I can't wait to see a Fable controller. And I think
Ever
Terry, you
wild.
shared one. You shared one the other day from contest. I think it looks
Yes,
like
it looks so
that was
good.
really cool. What game was that? Was like a pirate game or something? Was it? Do you remember? Terry
I'm trying
showed
to
it on
remember.
Twitter.
Oh
They're
my
doing a
gosh.
contest, and it was so cool. It actually has like a padlock, and it comes in a chest and everything.
Yeah,
It was
I
really
think-
cool.
I can't remember. I honestly can't remember, but it looks so amazing.
Man, I remember the one that make the Cuphead one. I'm like, I wanted it that
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
So many great controllers, man. Honestly,
And remember,
God,
for those that may
yeah.
want controller skins and stuff like that, remember Pope is out there. You know, who used to be Xbox
Yes.
Oh,
Pope.
it's
If
for
you're not
Yes.
going Pope,
it was for Hood. I'm
Pope
sorry.
Art.
I'm sorry,
Oh,
Paul.
Hood.
It was for Hood.
Hood.
If
Yes.
anybody's wondering
Hood.
on a
Yeah.
Fable controller, this is for the 360.
Oh, hang on. Let me.
I
pop
thought that
it.
was
yeah.
Fall Edition.
Ooh, look at that one. That was pretty sweet. Look at that.
This is the
Nice.
Fable Xbox 360 controller.
Look at that.
Still works 100%. And I keep
Man,
mine. I threw away the boxes. This is when I threw away boxes back in the day. So I keep them in Ziplocs to protect them.
I was going to say you keep your stuff in good shape because I don't see the crumbs and the 3 layers of skin grease underneath.
Doritos.
Yeah.
there is it started to oxidize on the here, but other than that, I mean it's pretty good.
Nice.
That's a good
I
D-pad.
love custom control. I love theme controllers, by the way.
Yeah, here it is. It's it's the you can show
Oh,
that it's the HUD Outlaw and Legend, and it comes with and in the case is a treasure chest.
Hang on, let me pop that up here.
Yeah, this looks amazing. I would love to have
Wow, that is awesome.
And you gave that away?
No, Focus is giving this away right now.
Wow.
They're doing a contest to win this. So yeah, that treasure chest is the case to put the controller in.
That's ridiculous.
Isn't that cool, man? Look at that little padlock in the middle. Like,
it's so awesome.
Wait,
That's
the question is, because I'm looking at it, the question is it a regular controller or is it a Series XS, the one with the share? Because I'm looking at it, the way I'm looking at it is like a regular controller.
Look, it's a collectible. It look great on anybody's shelf.
Yeah, that is true.
I think it's a regular Xbox One version.
Yeah.
I don't see the share button in there. Either way,
the padlock is the share button.
Yeah.
Go actually put the key in there to get your thing to work.
Okay, cool. Awesome. That was awesome. Great stuff. Well, all right, everybody. That was awesome, and that was a little unexpected, the whole share controller, but that is awesome. I love it. I love this random stuff as well in these podcasts where people just get into it and are passionate about the products and the stuff that they buy, because that's what it's all about at the end of the day. I love these microphones these guys are rocking, too. Like, Scrub's got a wicked one going, and look at Eternal Shaddai, man. It came right out of the freaking radio booth this morning.
Oh,
yes. Stay tuned.
All righty. Good stuff, guys. All right. So we're going to let everybody get out of here. We're at a little bit over time on this one, but that's okay. We're having fun, and it seems like the chat's having fun. Most of them have been here for the duration of the entire podcast. So let's get out of here. I will start in reverse order. We're going to start with Eternal Shaddai. Eternal, let people know where they can check you out, whether it be social media, podcasts, or what have you. Let people know where they can find you, brother.
Okay, people can find me on Twitter at Eternal Shaddai. Also, they can find me on Twitch at ETE Shaddai, because I abbreviate Eternal, it's too long. Also on Xbox, Eternal Shaddai, the same thing on the screen like that. That's why Newf already posted. Yep.
I like that. There you go.
Yeah, and also I do another podcast on Saturdays. We do bilingual. It's called Cultura de Mancos. So, it's not only for Spanish and all that, but we also have bilingual, and we have people, English language that have visited us on Saturday, and we talk English too, and we translate it. So it does not matter, we don't push people away. Everybody's welcome on Saturdays at Cultura de Mancos.
Awesome. Good stuff right there. Cerebral Paul, brother, where can people catch up with you, whether it's social media or podcasts, et cetera, et cetera?
Twitter, Cerebral Paul 1, Xbox, Cerebral Paul 921. You can find me every Wednesdays on Midweek Gaming on the Stubbs Cast. You can find me every Sunday here, and you can find me also later today, unless I go take a nap and don't wake up, on the Flemish Experience, which is always fun, just a general chat type of thing. And you can also find me on YouTube and Twitch. Twitch is Cerebral Paul. YouTube is whatever the heck it is. Go to my Twitter, and it's there. I still, even though I have enough followers now, it still hasn't released me to be able to give myself a vanity URL yet. So. But I've been putting up more and more stuff on there, and more will be coming. So here we go.
Awesome stuff. And the next guy you're going to find in an inflatable hot tub, it's Axle. Axle, where can you find you, bro?
Definitely. So you can find me on Twitter at Axle1324. You can find me on Twitch at Axle1324 Gaming. And I do a co-op stream every Saturday. It's about 2 to 3 hours long with my friends. And then you can find me on Xbox, Axle1324. And of course, here on YouTube, I upload videos every Friday, and every other Monday, I upload videos with Q&As, where I just talk to random people, mostly not really random. My normals are Newf and Dreadpool, where we just answer a random question that I think about every week.
Having a lot of fun with those, by the way, and can't wait to hear the latest one.
Yes.
All right, let's get over to our next one. We got the one, the only Scrub Nurse.
Oh yeah, you guys can check me out on Twitter. It's Scrub Nurse 3. Scrub Nurse 3. I guess, like I said, 2 other scrub nurses came before me, but whatever. I'm the most important one. Xbox is Scrub Space Nurse. You can see it down here. Twitch is Scrub_Nurse. I stream on there without a camera. Now I'm working putting on cameras so on my streaming, and then on Facebook and my streaming group with a couple of guys I play COD and some other games with. That'll be the Bayou Elite. And that's all the ways you can find me for now, but more to come.
Nice. Love it. And I love what you guys are doing here as well, putting up all that stuff so I can highlight it on the screen. It gives people a time to actually add you all in while they're twiddling their thumbs and stuff. So that's last but not least, before I get out of here, let's find out where you can catch up with Cool Kat Terri. Definitely not in the litter box, but here she is.
All right, yeah, everybody, you can catch me on Twitter. It's CoolCat_Terri. Otherwise, I'm on Twitch as just Cool Kat Terri, as well as my Xbox. I also have a podcast called Just a Glimpse. It's audio only. You can get it on Spotify, Apple, or Google Podcasts. So go ahead and check that out as well. Called Just a Glimpse. Just search it. It'll pop up.
And she just reminded me she should have a new segment as well. It should be called Cool Kat Terri's Litter Box, the things that stink in gaming.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
We're going to go ahead and take this topic and bury it.
Yes, trying to bury this topic. That would be awesome. She should just find something that like annoys people in gaming, whether it's her or someone else. Like, you know, my pet peeves, and then just like every week, that'd be funny. Anyway, we are always adding something to the show. You never know, that might come as well. And guys, I don't think it's self-explanatory. Newf Nukem, just like you see it on the screen, it's Newf Nukem on Xbox, Newf Nukem 76, PlayStation Network, and of course, just Newf Nukem on my YouTube channel, Newf Nukem over on Twitter. A lot of people interact with me on Twitter. I wish I had as many subscribers on my YouTube as I got followers on Twitter, because I'd be laughing right now. It's unbelievable. But thank you guys for the support, especially to all you guys in the chat. Like I said, the unsung MVPs, people like Spider-Man, Dreadpool, Jago Kuka, and Graphic God, True Racer, Assassin Lupa, Ron Hale was here. You guys are amazing. Philly Eagle, Joe Dunmore. The list goes on and on and on. Like Crispy Rambo. Wish I could shout you all out, but I'd be here for another hour. But you guys are all appreciated. We love what you guys are coming out to this early show. This is our first ever. Hey, Quietish, what's going on? Chase Jones. Yeah, Chase Jones. He was the first in the chat today. Chase, thanks for being here, brother. I forgot you were still kicking around. Awesome. So, yeah, guys, thanks for the support and all that good stuff. And we'll see you back here next week. And again, we appreciate the love and mostly the feedback so we can, tune this show and make it a show that's really enjoyable for one and for all. Yes, Quietish has been lurking. A lot of people lurk. Absolutely. Hey, it pays to be in a chat sometimes because some of those giveaways are chat based. So it's always good to just pop in and say hello, right? You never know. Anyway, guys, we'll see you all again next Sunday, bright and early. So until then, game on, have fun. And good night from Xbox.
Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day.
Yes.
See y'all later.
See ya.
Happy Mothers.
Happy Mom's Day to all your mothers.
And on that note, we're out.